Paminawa, kaning litanya, kabahining bisda kong paghigugma. Para buyag, kasing-kasing kiat, para buyag at tikpaniliyon kilat. Pagpanggahog ay paspuso sa larsyan, muhumok, igbahog sabaw sa linarang. Humukog ilong, tanalaag tas kulon, at tuon tadapit nga makasaysayon. Lapik sa dila, ugot siya sa pulong, dugan mo siguradong makumong-kumong. Ugot pasuot, ugot pasuot, ugot pasuot.
Bahalag saging, basta labing, bahalag buwan, basta tupad. Bahalag toyo, basta video, bahalag ginamos, basta langgakot. Bahalag ilaw, basta ikaw, bahalag barli, basta permi. Bahalag lanay, basta tanday, bahalag dukot, basta lang hugot. Hugot pasuot, hugot pasuot, kasing-kasing kapuno sa kahimuon. Huot pas hugot, huot pas hugot, ikaw akong forever, wala'y magbuot. Hugot pas huot, hugot pas huot, bisag ipagpag man sa tumang kalimot. Huot pas hugot, hugot pas hugot, sa dalan kulon kita mag-abot. Bahalag liit basta sikit, bahalag mag-uos basta lang timos, bahalag mo loong basta mo haong, bahalag di magkaya basta kita.
Hindi ka biyaan, tuurad yun na ako. Mura General Maxilumikon mo plano, para di mo makipatay ko pareho. Sa Cebuanong katipunerong si Alejo, maglisod ko kaon kung di tadungan. Ang imong istorya murag musika sa dungan, bisagin sa nga babae, di ka ilisan kaya nga akong gugma, solid pa sa katipunan.
Hugot pasuot, hugot pasuot, kasing-kasing kapuno sa kahimuon. Huot pas hugot, hugot pas hugot, ikaw akong forever, wala'y magbuot. Hugot pas hugot, hugot pas hugot, bisag ipagpag man sa tumang kalimot. Huot pas hugot, huot pas hugot, sa dalan kulon kita mag-abot. Sa dalan kulon kita mag-abot. Sa dalan kulon bayang sabot.
Mayong adlaw, I am Chef Kate, and today I will be showing to you how to make Cebuano or local dishes. Our dishes are named after Cebuano heroes.
Very good. It's nice.
Yes, yes.
It's soft. It's tender. There's sweetness to it.
Maayong adlaw! I am Chef 𝗵𝗲𝗄 and I will be showing you how to make our local and Cebuano dishes. Our dishes are named after Cebuano heroes.
This is really healthy food. Organic.
Maayong adlaw, I am Chef Rhea and I will be showing you how to cook local or Cebuano dishes.
Ako, ang chocolate siya na kanang if ever man gani, recommend ko yung mga broken hearted niya. Gani ka na, di ba mo? Okay kayo.
Maayong adlaw. I am Chef Ray, and I will be showing you how to make Cebuano or local dishes.
Amazing. Many different texture in my mouth. In Taiwan, if we use this sticky rice more, we mix. We how to say that? We try to mix it with other thing. We will put something inside, like sesame or peanuts, and then you can eat together. We call 汤圆.
Mayong adlaw, I am Jeff, bartender. I would like to show you how to make Cebuano local drinks.
Sakto because you can drink it continuously because it's not that sweet, but it's tasty enough to be drank by a person.
Mayong adlaw, I am Chef Kate, and today I will be showing to you how to make Cebuano or local dishes.
Anang halo-halo is prepare this in fine ice and very less halo. What made it perfect is the 𝗵𝗵𝗴𝗄𝗵𝗴𝗏.
Years of heritage research has uncovered evidence that Cebu and other islands in the Visayas were under the influence and control of the Sultanate of Sulu before the Spaniards came. One important advisor of Cebu Chief 𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗲 was a Muslim. So today, we present to you the flavors of Sulu that could have been appreciated by the Cebuano palate. We show you how to prepare an authentic 𝗗𝗏 dish that 𝗵𝗲𝗄 named in honor of a Moro warrior, 𝗵𝗵𝗲𝗵𝗿, one of our Moro hero dishes. The use of turmeric in our Cebuano cuisine speaks of how Indian and Arab influences have entered into the Cebuano palate through the Sulu trade routes and influence. Another important ingredient of this dish is the coconut. So we know that coconuts are endemic in the Philippines, in our islands, and the coconut has antiviral, antimicrobial, and other medicinal properties. Other spices used in this dish are ginger, lemongrass, garlic, onions, chili peppers, that all make the dish tasty and healthy because of their medicinal properties. We showcase to you the preparation of this authentic Sulu dish, 𝗵𝗵𝗲𝗵𝗏.
They say looks can be deceiving. At first glance, I thought you were not much to look at. All icing, no cake, all steam, not much brew. But the night air sings of fulfilling ancient dreams. The moon whispers of tenderness for the smallest of them, for the unheard, the unseen. And as the sun breaks through our heroes' memories, your blinding smile hits my heart, like the warrior's blade, like 𝗵𝗏𝗏𝗄𝗏's spear. But the far seas beckon you. The memories on these walls try to soothe the pain of parting. I seek for your warmth, but only these sheets comfort me. My tears are salt water flowing to bridge the seas and islands that divide us. The stars listen to my sighs as I look for you in the skies. And now you're here. Our love blazes like the fire of our heroes' revolution. Our hearts entwined is such sweet victory, incomparable, like the journey of our people, like the richness of our culture.
Palmgrass, the Cebu Heritage Hotel, in partnership with the National Historical Commission of the Philippines, the National Quincentennial Committee, the University of San Jose Recoletos, Museo Sugbo or the Cebu Provincial Museum, the Central Visayas Association of Museums, the Yandi Heritage Center, and so on 2020, present to you a hybrid event this afternoon, an event celebrating food and history with our event SuTuKil, Gastronomic Pleasures in the Visayas since 500 years ago. Because of course, the way to a person's heart is through the stomach. So we will have another exciting afternoon today with our very yummy and mouth-watering topic, which is SuTuKil, Sugba Tuwa Kilaw. And we will be tracing SuTuKil since 500 years ago or 1,000 years ago with our culinary heritage experts that who are with us this afternoon. So we thank you for being with us to the more than 100, nearly 150 online audience right now. Daghang salamat for being with us once again in our exciting event today. So today we are celebrating. We would like to um, um, invite you to our celebration today and to join us in our celebration of the ika-unom nga tuig sa kapihan ni Lumaya. So the Palmgrass the Cebu Heritage Hotel's um, library restaurant is celebrating its 6th year today because of course today is the Lumaya opened ahead of the grand opening of Palmgrass the Cebu Heritage Hotel. It opened on February 28, 2016, and that was still the soft opening of Palmgrass. So we have been serving, Kapihan Lumaya has been serving you food for heroes dishes and other international cuisine and other dishes through the 6 years. So we thank very much our chefs at Kapihan Lumaya, and we thank you, our customers and guests at Kapihan Lumaya. We are also celebrating. So this tonight, we would have a food trip Noak kaon sa tuig 6. Tuig ika-unom nga tuig sa Lumaya, 6th year of Kapihan ni Lumaya. There would be games and prizes tonight like SuTuKil eating contest, tuba drinking contest, guess the song title contest, and many more. So of course, this afternoon in our event, there will also be trivia questions for you, wherein you will win exciting prizes. So we are also celebrating this month, February, the National Arts Month. And we celebrated in the middle of the month, last February 14, we celebrated the Valentine's Day. It is Hearts Month. It is and do you notice that we, in the celebration even of love, it is a hearts month, but then we celebrate it with also food. So, of course, the way to the heart is through the stomach. Is it true? So, in all celebrations, there is always food and drinks. so, so we also would like to thank our partners in today's event. We would like to thank the National Historical Commission of the Philippines, the National Quincentennial Committee, the University of San Jose Recoletos, Museo Sugbo, Central Visayas Association of Museums, and the Yandi Heritage Center, and so on 2020. And you are also able to view this Facebook Live broadcast at the pages of our partners. So, daghang salamat. So we would invite you to listen carefully to our discussion, especially to those who would like to join the trivia quiz, wherein you will win exciting prizes because we would be asking questions, and then, of course, the questions would come from the discussions and from the presentations of our panelists. And so we would like to recognize those on the National Quincentennial Committee page. We have Ryan Gonzalez, and we have two Ryan saying good afternoon. Say hashtag SuTuKil, hashtag Visayan cuisine, if you want. So Ryan Paminial and Ryan Joshua Gonzalez, good afternoon. Maayong hapon to those at the Quincentennial Committee page. So also 𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗲𝗄 𝗵𝗵𝗃. So we also have, I can't read the comments at the Palmgrass. So we have also from the Palmgrass to Cebu Heritage page, we have Lori, Shaira, Rafi, Nina, and then also so many more. And I can't read yet. I can no longer read. So Franz Ronya says hashtag #SuTuKil. So daghang salamat to the students of one of our panelists from the University of San Jose Recoletos who are uh, online right now to watch our hybrid event. So we would also like to recognize the participants, the our limited on-site participants. Daghang salamat from the Cebu Technological University. And we also have our descendant of the veterans of World War II. Daghang salamat for being with us. So we have also from those who registered online in our registration forms. So we have from those connected with the Iloilo Science and Technology University, Cebu Normal University, Tabuk National High School, this is in Mandaue, and then also from the University of San Jose Recoletos. You have someone from Dumanhog, CTU Dumanhog. We have from Camarines Norte State College. We have from the Don Mariano Memorial State University, South La Union Campus. We have from Katara Filipino Indigenous Art Society. This is a group, a Facebook group, Visayan Culture or Visayan Culture, and based in Canada. And we also have from the Cebu City National Science High School, from Camarines Norte State College, Pilgrim Christian College, from the DepEd Schools Division of Catbalogan City. We also have from the University of Melbourne. Daghang salamat for being with us. So we have international audience right now. We also have from the LGU of San Carlos City, Negros Oriental. Maayong hapon. Daghang salamat for being with us. And we also have someone connected with the Department of Foreign Affairs. So daghang salamat for being with us in this mouth-watering, exciting gastronomic adventure afternoon. So you will be able to see up close, although just on your screen, our food that we have that is cooked by our 𝗵𝗵𝗃𝗵𝗵𝗵 to celebrate the tuig 6, ika-unom nga tuig sa 𝗵𝗵𝗃𝗵𝗵𝗵. So we have our online participants and online. Please write hashtag #SuTuKil for those who would like to be recognized. We have also Jackie, Madeline, we have Sian, Lord Byron, BSHM, all the students of one of our panelists, Jamaica, BS Entrepreneur 3. So we also have from our National Quincentennial Committee page. We have City. She has been with us. Did City already win in our previous event? I'm not sure. We have Leoncio Catolos from Tanay Rizal, and we have also Winifrida Raro. So daghang salamat. So we invite you to give your comments and give your questions as we go along, because we would be giving them your questions to our panelists. So now I know you're excited to already welcome our panelists this afternoon. So one of our panelists right now, she is for the first time she is with us in our heritage events. She is the editor of Saro-Saro Kita, traditional recipes of Leyte, and she is also doing research on traditional food, on Waray traditional Waray food, rituals and feasts. She is the associate editor of Biyaheng Pinoy of 𝗵𝗵𝗄𝗧, and she is the associate professor of the University of the Philippines Visayas, Tacloban College. It is our honor and our pleasure to welcome with a round of applause our panelists, the Beauty and Brains Professor 𝗖𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗏. Maayong hapon.
Maayong hapon. Salamat, Ms. Agripina. And I would like to greet our listeners. Salamat sa inyong pagduaw din.
Daghang salamat, Professor 𝗖𝗵𝗴𝗏. So, in a while, we're so excited to show you later when she will be answering our questions for her. You would be able to see that she really, she really has. Would you know? I was so surprised when we had our technical test a few days back that she is really a Visayan pintado because she has a tattoo by 𝗏𝗏. So I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous. She has a tattoo. She's really a Visayan pintado. So now we would like to introduce to you our second panelist. Our second panelist has won many competitions in culinary competitions featuring local dishes. He has appeared in, he has been a guest in national television shows on local dishes, and he is an associate professor at the Department of Tourism and Hospitality of the University of San Jose Recoletos, our Suki at 𝗵𝗵𝗲𝗄 ni Lumaya. Please help me welcome Chef Richard 𝗏𝗏.
Good afternoon, all. It's so honored to be here among the legendary University Professor 𝗖𝗵𝗲𝗄 𝗵𝗿𝗏, my idol.
Daghang salamat, Chef Richard. So may we fix Chef Richard's visual. So daghang salamat, Chef Richard. So Chef Richard has been here at 𝗵𝗵𝗲𝗏 ni Lumaya. Sometimes he has an online class at the 𝗵𝗵𝗲𝗏 ni Lumaya. And also, his favorite dish at 𝗵𝗵𝗲𝗏 ni Lumaya is the sinugbang baboy. So sugba, it's still sugba, part of our dish. Sinugbang baboy ni Luis Flores. And of course, Luis Flores is the hero, a Cebu hero, who was the president of the Cebu Katipunan in 1898. So we would also like to introduce to you one of our chefs at 𝗵𝗵𝗲𝗏 ni Lumaya, who would be showing us our yummy and mouth-watering dishes at 𝗵𝗵𝗏𝗏 ni Lumaya. Please help me welcome Chef Janilyn.
Mayong hapon sa tanan. I am Chef Janilyn sa 𝗵𝗵𝗏𝗏 ni Lumaya.
Oh, may we have Chef Janilyn closer? You would see that our dishes are as guapa as our chef. So we have patuol pa guapa gid na. So guapa gyud. Basta gali. So our dishes are yummy because our dishes are delicious because of course as we always say, the very special ingredient by our chefs for our food at 𝗵𝗵𝗏𝗏 ni Lumaya. Unsa ganito ang special ingredient in our dishes? Kuan, ba sa to? Pa? Love, good love. Oh, so ikaw sa Janilyn, wa kay heart diha? Heart. So there is heart na I love in our dishes. That's why the way to your heart is through the stomach, because of course there is heart in the way they cook. So if there's no love, why lami gyud? Why lami? So mao na siya. Daghang salamat, Chef Janilyn. So now we would like to have these questions already for our panelists. So we would like to recognize those online still. We have Ann Ipon, #SuTuKil, Shara, #SuTuKil, Karen, Karen Faye, Diana, Shara May, Shona. And we also have from the National Quincentennial Committee page, we have Said Caballero saying hi, Richard 𝗏𝗏. And then also 𝗍𝗏 𝗏𝗏𝗏. And we have Jennifer Ugad in the National Quincentennial Committee page saying good afternoon. So
We are excited that you are with us in tasting these dishes virtually because you are not here. So those who are here would be able to taste the dishes physically, and then those online, we invite you to have a taste of these dishes virtually only. So we we are excited to have you with us in the future to taste the dishes really physically and 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 taste the texture and the yummy dishes here at 𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵. So we are journeying back to 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago, to have a taste of the food that our ancestors had. And how could these dishes be accessible to all of us right now? So we would be having this discussion and presentation showcasing our local dishes in the Visayas. So now we would like to have this question for our winning chef, our Chef Richard. So we would like Chef Richard to elaborate on the SuTuKil, or what is SuTuKil, and as the dishes in the Visayas since 500 years ago.
Okay. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, as far as my research, I was able to gather data that SuTuKil actually is a combination of sugba, tuwa, and kilaw. So when you say sugba, you just add salt and then you sugba it in an open flame, in charcoal, in wooden fire, whichever is accessible to you. So when you talk about tuwa, you're talking about simple soup. It does not have any souring ingredient yet, because when you talk about tuwa, that is distinguished totally different from what you call sinigang. Sinigang has souring ingredient, and since we are geographically, geographically diversified, it depends on what region we belong. There are some region in the Philippines that is using commonly or flavoring their sinigang with sour ingredient. But the sour ingredient is also varied. In Luzon, if I'm not mistaken, they use the sampalok or the tamarind. In Masbate, we are more into tuwa, meaning to say we don't use souring ingredient. If we do, we oftentimes use the batuan. I don't know if you're familiar with what is a batuan. A batuan is like, it's called a batuan because it looks like a small stone from the word bato, batuan. It grows in area that is barren and a little bit more dry climate. It's commonly found also in Iloilo, but not in, I haven't quite find it here in Cebu. They are not into the batuan. If they are going to cook sinigang in Cebu, they are more into what you call the kamyas or the iba. Or oftentimes, calamansi will do. Okay. But in Masbate, as I've said, we often prefer the tinoa, simple as tinoa. Now, when you're talking about tinoa also or tuwa, in the earliest time, that the fish that they are using is the small variety of fish. Normally, these are the fish that are caught by the fishermen, because most of the large fish are already sold to to those people who can afford it. So what is left is the small fishes, and we have no problem cooking tinoa using small fishes. But as time passes by, you will also see the changes in the type of fish that they are using. In the urban area, we prefer more, rather in the urban area like Cebu City, we don't basically use small fish in tinoa. We normally use the large one, the sliced one. While when you go to the urban area, you can still see household using or cooking tinoa using small fish. Also in my home province of Masbate, because that's how we normally get from the fishermen straight from the boat when they anchor in the in the daplin sa dagat namo, because our ancestral house is located near the sea. So we are very fortunate that oftentimes our seafoods are just given by fishermen. We oftentimes do not spend so much on buying of those fish. So when you talk about sugba, tuwa, when you talk about kilaw, the word kinilaw comes from kinihilaw. So basically, you will just get the fish, you will traditionally eat it. In fact, when you are going with in the boat together with the fishermen, whatever they catch, you normally peel the fish or remove the bones and immediately eat it. So that's already a very simple example of kinilaw without any salt, because the saltiness is derived from the ocean itself. It's a freshly caught fish. Now, but of course, when you are doing kinilaw in your home, you can now add some of the common ingredients like the onions. It depends on what is available. You can in fact add vinegar. In Masbate, we oftentimes add coconut milk for our kinilaw. Same also in Cebu. But I am not saying that the kinilaw that you will find in Cebu normally contains coconut milk. No, I am not saying that. What I'm saying is you may add. You can still taste kinilaw in the rural areas of Cebu without any coconut milk. They just simply add vinegar, salt, and it's fine with them. It depends also on the freshness and the quality of the fish or seafood they are using. So that's an example, a simple example of SuTuKil. And I believe in my research also, SuTuKil has been with us before the arrival of the colonizers, beginning with Spain, because we have been trading with other Asian traders in the region. So we are already used to cooking the SuTuKil, because this is actually very, very simple. Sugba, tuwa, and kilaw. Now, but you know what? The most amazing thing is that only in Cebu you can see those three dishes being served together. So you have now the one word SuTuKil. In other provinces, each dishes is a standalone. You have the sinugba, it's enough. But here, normally we serve it together. In fact, there are restaurants that are serving it as a package. You order the SuTuKil, you have the soup, you have the tuwa, you have the sinugba, you have the tuwa, I have the kinilaw. Very simple, and according to my research, that is the three remaining original Filipino dishes that we are enjoying in terms of ingredient, in terms of cooking methods. It's the most original. I would like also to call Professor Joyce Alegre to add some, add more information on SuTuKil.
Daghang salamat, Chef Richard. So now we would like to have Professor Joyce to tell us more about the SuTuKil in the Visayas.
My goodness, very informative and very basic knowledge that was shared by no less than Chef Richard. We belong to a mutual admiration society. Anyway, tama to giingon ni Sir Richard. May I speak in English? Yeah, because we have international audience. So apparently, because of the concept SuTuKil is a combination, it is the ingenuity of the Cebuanos, and it has spread down to Mindanao. We also have that here in Leyte. Now, it's true that we can push our history, our culinary history, farther back. According to Chef Richard, they are most original, most likely, yes, the most original, although there are others. If we look into our repertoire of dishes, which have not been quite compiled, but we would like to see the pre-colonial culinary repertoire. Probably we can show some, because you mentioned the batuan, I have pictures of that, and I also compared the tuwa. No? First is the sugba. Sugba is simply grilled, right? So it's just a step away from the freshness. And then with the intervention of fire, which is very basic since Homo erectus a million years ago, who invented fire, more than a million actually, until about 1.5 million years ago, the ancestors of Homo sapiens sapiens. We have the intervention of fire, just place it on coal. But we would put grill now, right? Tapos we also have the balot, the banana leaf sometimes. Now they use the aluminum foil, which is not very healthy. So it's really basic. Come to think of it, with the intervention of fire, place it on top, then you have the sugba, the grilled. And we are known for, how do they call it in Tagalog? Inihaw. And they have ihaw. We have sugba, sinugba. That's all over. Even the Tagalogs now would refer to the Visayan grilled, whether manok, manok can be inasal, no, from the Ilonggo. So it's really sugba. But you see, this can date as far back as the first servings of the ancient Visayans to the Spaniards, and that is noted in Pigafetta. Can we show the slides already? Can we show the slides already, please? Just a minute, huh?
The sound.
Just a minute, okay, just a minute. Okay, this is a book written by Edilberto Alegre, my late husband, and his co-author, Doreen Fernandez. Let's go farther back because it is here where they documented the archaeological findings in Agusan of the, let's go down. Let's look at the next slides, please. The fossil findings. That's our kinilaw. This is contemporary kinilaw. You can see it doesn't have coconut milk. So where is this? Probably from parts of Cebu or Iloilo. Okay, let's go down. I got it from the internet. And let's look at these images. There, the lower portion, you have the cross-section of the barilis, the tuna, which are fossils compared with, we have the ancient one on the right, and then the left, that is the new one. And you have the upper portion, the tail end of the tuna, right? These are photographs in the Kinilaw book, which shows us the evidence of the fossils, of the way that it was cut 1,000 years ago by carbon dating. And that is exactly how the Kinilaw is being cut. And next to that fossil was found the tabon. That's in the next picture. This one, it looks like a chico, but it is hard. And the way it is cut is the preparation for the kinilaw. The one on the right, the black one, that's the ancient fossil. That's the fossil. And then we have the contemporary cut. So they have established that most likely this was found in Libertad, Agusan del Norte. This is dated 1,000 years ago. So long before, 500 years before the coming of 1521, and then 1,000 years ago. That's about 500 years, push it back. All right. And then we have datings in Samar and Leyte of ancient inhabitants, 10,500 before the present. So we have had quite a civilization. There were cooking pots there. People were already cooking in Samar. So ancient siya talaga. We can push back farther than 500 years ago because we already had a culinary heritage. We had political structures, political units known as the barangays, and they were ruled by rajas or the datu. So there, that's our dating for kinilaw with variations now, whether you use coconut milk or without, and yes, different kinds of flavorings. Okay, let's go down to just comment on the tuwa. I have 3 minutes. Let's go down through the slides. Yeah, I just pointed the visits of Magellan from Homonhon to Limasawa to Mactan, where he was killed. Andiyan, no, Limasawa sa yellow portion. Agusan is the red one where the Kinilaw is. And then we have blue one where he was killed. He was initially received by Raja Humabon, but killed by Magellan because they would not agree to the tribute. Okay, let's go down. Just cursory lang, that's Homonhon. See, parang paradise ang Visayan Islands eh. Okay, let's go down some more. It's like paradise, it's greenery. This was offered in Homonhon. These were people from Suluan Island off Homonhon Island in Samar. What did they offer? Fish, tuba, bananas and coconuts offered to Magellan's team, Magellan's crew. Okay, farther down, just a cursory, just a breezy. That's limansawa. What was served there? They were served also fish, dorado fish. Let's just go down breezily because we have very little time there. And until Easter Sunday, they were given rice, dorado fish. There in the middle, that's my picture of the grilled, the sugba, nga, sinugba, no, nga, pork, and then pork with its gravy, which is perhaps it's already adobo or humba because we have had soy sauce just because of the of our trade with China. And then they were offered 2 swines, 2 pigs for Easter Sunday. And sinugba nga isda. Finally, let's go down. When they reached Cebu, okay, this was still in Limasawa when Magellan visited. Oh, this is already the king of Cebu. The king of Cebu was first eating turtle eggs on, and then offered also a jar of wine with it's being shared, palm wine. So we have an abundant environment. We have natural heritage, and this is offered in terms of friendship and also trade to the foreign visitors. And finally, we have TOWA in various. Let's go down further. Probably I have 30 seconds. May we request the technician to go further? Just so I'm just showing some examples of what was mentioned by Chef Richard, especially the batuan.
So, Professor 𝗖𝗵𝗲𝗳, this is the last slide regarding the SuTuKil. And we have, is there another slide for the I guess the souring ingredients, is it there?
The TOWA, just to show the batuan.
The TOWA. Ana.
Okay, so later na lang. Yeah.
So,
our
Professor
𝗖𝗵𝗲𝗳, that these were not introduced by the Spaniards. This is basically ours. Original.
Okay. So, Professor 𝗖𝗵𝗲𝗳 and Chef Richard, we already have a question for you from our audience at the National Quincentennial Committee page. So there is a question from 𝗊𝐿𝐿𝐵𝗲𝗄 𝗵𝗃 Since the dish is always served as one, what is the unifying element in the cooking and presentation of SuTuKil? May we have also Chef Richard, if he would like to answer, and also Professor 𝗖𝗵𝗲𝗳. Who would like to answer first?
Okay, thank you for that. Actually, it's a very complicated question, but I'm going to answer it very simple. One of the unifying factor that that you can see among the 3 dishes, the sugba, tuwa, kilaw, is the simplicity. It's very simple. It reflects what is available on that particular region. Because you have to remember that the Philippines is actually an archipelago, and we are located in different regions. We normally utilize the ingredient that is available in our region. So therefore, what you have in your region is as diverse from other region. So simplicity.
So daghang salamat, Chef Richard. So 𝗠𝗏𝗄, for Chef Richard, the unifying element in the cooking and presentation of SuTuKil is simplicity. Now may we have also Professor 𝗖𝗵𝗲𝗳 about what she thinks is the unifying element in the presentation and cooking of SuTuKil.
I think it's the complement of the I heard. The complementary, like one completes the other. Sugba is dry, it is protein, it's dry and it has the texture. And then tuwa is your mainit, no, if it is breakfast. So it's a heavy breakfast, good for farmers and fishermen or anybody who works hard. That goes with rice. So we have the tuwa, and the tuwa has vegetables. And then we have the kilaw, which is very stimulating. The more you will eat, but it is not heavy unless you have sinugba nga baboy. But you see, we are tayo matakaw eh. Creates the textures, they enrich our taste. So that is the gustatory from the simplicity really available, they are pristine, and the complementariness, which is an invention based on that our
Okay. Daghang salamat, Professor Joycey. We had a not very good audio a few minutes back, a few seconds ago.
Oo.
But then we may have a better audio in a while. So daghang salamat, Professor Joycey and Chef Richard, for answering the question of Yonsho. And Yonsho is also saying thanks. Daghang thanks po. We also have Sally Iran at the National Quincentennial Committee page. We have Anne Soza, Erica, Margot C saying SuTuKil, hashtag SuTuKil, Ferrer saying hashtag SuTuKil, Kishana from the BHMHM1, and also Anne Zosa, hashtag SuTuKil. So now we would like to show you virtually, and those here on site, our dishes of sinugba, tinua, and kinilaw at kapihan ni Lumaya. So we have our Unli SuTuKil tonight. So we would be launching our unlimited SuTuKil of sinugbang baboy, sinugbang. So we have sinugbang baboy. We have, is it clear on your screen? Is it clear? So kana sinugbang baboy, and then the camera does not do justice to the grilled kuan. So and then we have also sinugbang manok. So usually when we say SuTuKil, we only refer to the fish, right? But usually sinugba now at sinugba, the unlimited SuTuKil at Kapihan ni Lumaya features sinugbang baboy, sinugbang manok. So and then sinugbang isda. So we have sinugbang isda. So this is Chef Janelyn cooking it, preparing our food with love. And then, so it's Anli SuTuKil. And then also, we have also, our sinugbang baboy is named in honor of Luis Flores. Sinugbang isda is Putenciano Alinyo. So we have another fish actually, sinugbang tangigi, right? So we have sinugbang tangigi, named in honor of Putenciano Alinyo. And Putenciano Alinyo was one of the leaders of the Cebu Katipunan. We also have our kinilaw nga isda, ni Dagami. Our kinilaw nga isda is named in honor of Dagami, who led the ambush against the troops of Miguel Lopez de Legazpi on May 23, 1565. So our kinilaw nga isda, so lami gyud di siya with sili, with our kinilaw nga isda has coconut milk. Wala. It has no coconut milk. The version of the kinilaw at Kapihan ni Lumaya has no coconut milk. So we also have, what else would you like to show? We have supposedly Professor Joycey was supposed to discuss about sinigang. We were not able to prepare the slides. No, in her discussion.
It will be covered here.
So we would like also so we have our, later we'll show sinigang when it is discussed. So there is also sinigang. So can you show your dishes, all the dishes here? So we have more dishes to show you in a while. So while we would be asking in a while, Professor Joycey and Chef Richard about other dishes in the Visayas, we would like you to listen to this song about inviting everyone to go with us, to come with us to trace the history of Cebu. And it also mentions our dishes, kinilaw and humba. So this video is produced by Pamgras de Cebu Heritage Hotel, written by Agripina, and that's me. And this is performed by Jerlyn Abanyo, and the music is composed by a young musician, Jeff Escarda. The video is created by Social Communications Asia Prosper Lapot. And this video has now 997,000 views at YouTube at Pamgras de Cebu Heritage Hotel YouTube account. So we are going to have a contest. I mean, we're going to have a raffle draw. So we invite you to share this video so that we will have 2,000 more views, so that we will have 1 million views for this song. And then if you are going to share and like this video, you screenshot it and your names would be part of the raffle, and you will have a chance to win an overnight stay at the 𝗗𝗏𝗃 at Pamgras, the Cebu Heritage Hotel, when this heritage song, reaches 1 million views. We invite you to watch this video.
Uy, kuyugi ko nganong di man ka kuyugin ako bisan dili ko gwapa kahibalo ko mostorya sa kaagi sa una sa mga bayani nagigira lang para sa guma isog mo tasma andam mo away mamatay uli kung sa pa manggi atay kuyogi lagi ko di man ko mamugos kuyogang mukha ko sa kagahapon ni umabot kuyogi lagi ko di man ko mamugos kuyogang mukha ko sa kalayo ni tupas andam daw ba ng subo para malingkawas kuyog nimo magkuyog na ta pagbalik na diha ngano di ay nganong di man kaganahan kufta na to ang sundang nila pula-po leyon kilat flores sa gargadyo isog mo tasman hanggang mo away mamatay ulipon sa gugma gugma di atay kuyogi lagi ko kuman kumamukos kuyogang mukha ko sa kagahapon ni umabot kuyogi lagi ko kuman kumamukos kuyogang mukha ko sa kalayo ni tupas andam daw ba ng subo para malingkawas kuyog nimo hindi ko nimo kuyogan inyong tikag talawan hindi nakakatilaw sa humba o kinilaw kuyogi lagi ko di man ko mamugos kuyogang mukha ko sa kagahapon ni umabang kuyogi lagi ko di man ko mamugos kuyogang mukha ko sa kalayo ni tupas ang damdaw ba ng sabon para malingkawas kuyog nimo kuyog nimo kuyog nimo.
All round of applause. A round of applause for that performance by the young artists of Cebu, 𝗵𝗲𝗄𝗃. She has won previously. She was a contestant, a contender for Tawag ng Tanghalan. And the composer of the music is 𝗃𝗲𝗄𝗃. And the song is written by 𝗥𝗶𝗃, the only not millennial in the team who, who created that song. And also our video creator. That video was shot for just 2 hours. It at Hawanan 3 de Abril 2 years ago, and it was launched during the birthday of Cebu hero General 𝗵𝗲𝗄𝗃 𝗵𝗲. So our our humba, our bestseller dish, humba, is named in honor of General 𝗵𝗲𝗄𝗃 𝗵𝗲. So of course, we are so happy that the young people share that and watch that song. It's inviting everyone to come with us and to journey with us back to history, being proud of our heroes, being proud of our roots, and of course, if we know our heroes, we know our history, we are able to be inspired by the values of our heroes. So it says, "Andam dauban ang sugbo, ready to set Cebu on fire, just to be free with you." Because of course, Tupas and the Cebuanos burned the granary. They deprived food. So food is also a tool, it's a weapon of the Visayans in the past. They deprived the Spaniards of food. So to defeat the Spaniards, and of course the story of that is that's why the Spaniards left Cebu in 1567. They went to Panay because they were starving in Cebu. A Spanish prior was saying, "Such fertile land, but we had nothing to eat," because the Cebuanos and the Visayans, the other peoples in the neighboring islands, deprived the Spaniards of food. So food is yummy, but it can also be a weapon for war. So that's what they did. So the song also says, "Come with us. If you don't come with us, you will no longer be able to taste humba, di nakakatilaw sa humba o kinilaw." So now we invite you to go to the to the YouTube account of 𝗵𝗃𝗄𝗃 Cebu Heritage Hotel and watch that video, Kuyugi ko. Share it and screenshot your sharing that you have shared it and liked it, or you have liked that song, and then you will be part of the raffle draw. For when it reaches 1 million views, you will be part of the raffle draw of a chance to win an overnight stay at our Rooms for Heroes at 𝗵𝗃𝗄𝗃 Cebu Heritage Hotel. So now we would like to call again our Visayan culinary warrior. We have warriors here, we have heroes. So we have a Visayan culinary warrior. We have Pintado, Professor 𝗵𝗲𝗄𝗃. We would like to ask her about the common dishes and food throughout the Visayas. So of course, if we read Pigafetta, they would always say that the Visayans had tattoos. And even the women had tattoos. And we're so proud that Professor 𝗵𝗲𝗄𝗃 here, University of the Philippines Visayas professor, has a tattoo. She is a pintado. We would like to, can we maybe show Professor 𝗵𝗲𝗄𝗃 closer and alone. Is it clear? Can our audience see? So we would like to show you a pintado warrior from yes, and see, it's a 𝗏𝗏𝗏 tattoo, which we're so proud. We're so jealous. So, Professor 𝗵𝗲𝗄𝗃, please tell us about the tattoo.
Well, we were not painted. Gitawag ta sa mga we were called by the pintado, by the Spaniards. Not painted, we were tattooed. We have a term for that, yunal or patik. Yeah, patik. That is a Cebuano term. Because of the piercing with using metal, or well, 𝗏𝗏𝗏 is now using the thorn of the how do you call that? Suha. It's not lime. It's pomelo rather. And these were symbols other than war, right? The women wore them as ornamentation. In Kalinga, if you are tattooed, you are more valued, you're more beautiful for the Kalinga maidens. And for us, no, we had women also with the arms, but the fully tattooed, as far as I know, are Kalinga women, and they're very, very valuable, and they are far more beautiful than those without. So that was banned by the friars because they call that is the work of the demons. Because they're looking at it from their perspective. But we were beautifully tattooed until they banned tattooing. Now it's already a fad and it's already common practice, especially for young people, that decorative ornamentation. And when you go to Kalinga, for example, it's a symbol of achievement, of accomplishment. Just to climb pod in Bansalan, it's already an accomplishment. Then you deserve a tattoo. Or if you graduated or passed the board, then you are given a tattoo. You deserve a tattoo. You have worked for it. It's an accomplishment. Besides, to be tattooed, there is pain. But pain that you cannot but endure. You will always be able to endure. That's why warriors are considered really brave if they are well covered. Thank you. That's all for that.
Yes.
I'm not
So
painted.
the
I am
warriors
tattooed.
get a tattoo
Give
for every brave deed. Kung makapatay sila, they get a tattoo.
trivia.
So we are sure Professor Joyce maybe has figuratively killed, but not not in IRL in real life.
You know, myopic parochial mentality when it comes to how to interpret Philippine culinary food. As
Okay.
as I personally witnessed during our interaction in Leyte.
Okay.
And because of
Daghang
that,
salamat sa
and because of that, it's an eye opener for me.
there's an interaction from Chef Richard here. He cannot help himself. So anyway, Professor Joyce, we would like to ask you regarding the common food and dishes throughout the Visayas.
Yeah, I pointed out number one. Of course, we have the kinilaw, right? And also, how do we prepare our vegetables? It's usually lapwa, laswa, 𝗷𝗏𝗴𝗏. How is it in Cebu? Uy? Yeah, lapwa. Here we have the term. Hello? Yeah, so
Yes.
we have sugba, tuwa, kilaw. That's common all over the Philippines, in fact. But we're focusing now on what are common in the Visayas. How do we prepare? Sugba, sugba would have flavor, for example, chicken inasal in that there is a particular herb that they use for sugba. For us, we use a spice, right? Tanglad. Let's go tinola. And then kilaw, kinilaw. We have sinugbang protein, isda, sudan, sura, right? That's common. Then the sausawan changes depending on your preference. Usually, you in Cebu would have for your sausawan suoy, suka, or only vinegar with ginger or with garlic. And it could also be a cultural choice. The waray usually suoy with vinegar and soy sauce, but not very often. You don't get so many waray. It's not typical to have chili. I understand Cebu has more of the chili than the waray. The waray has more mild in taste. There would and then you have this sinamak in Iloilo, a combination of various spices, onions, ginger in one bottle. They call that sinamak, right? So there you have variations of the sausawan. These are the nuances of the flavorings. All right. Let's look at the other pictures. 𝗃𝗏, you can have some protein or you can have a mix. This is from the book Culinary. Is this Visayan? Do you combine? The waray do not combine flavors. We would fish, kung pasayan
Not
or shrimp
not so
only.
often, Professor Joyce. Here,
Neither,
when we
neither.
do
That's
the
true.
tinoa,
Did I get disconnected or is it Sir Richard, the Chef Richard,
Please
got
continue,
disconnected?
Professor Joyce.
Okay, so as Chef Richard was saying, it is not often or usually no combination. Neither in the Waray area, we don't. But this one is taken from the Culinaria by the chefs, by the top chefs of the Philippines. And then there is this. You have that, when you say tinola, di ba, Chef Richard, we have basically onion, but it's also a choice. Onion, ginger, and how about the kamatis? Because the tomato or kamatis is already sour by itself. So when we say basic, it is already soured by the tomato. Okay, let's go down. I have 2 minutes. Let's go down quick with the photographs. Here we have tinoa nga bangus, basically panakot, okay? Basic spices there. And then you have an option, onion, ginger, or kamatis. And then you have also a choice of the combinations if you will combine. Or usually we would have the lemongrass, right? For the Visayas, we would have lemongrass. But the saltiness would vary. For utan, you can have pechay, but usually it is the malunggay. Or a combination of even include the and the ganas, a combination of leaves. So this would vary. There, we have tinoa nga yellowfin tuna. This is very, very basic, which I got from the internet. Okay, Tatak Bisaya posted by Shera. She has alugbati and malunggay combination. They can combine, we can combine vegetables, but the most basic, even without the vegetable, just the boiled fish. And the variations would be in terms of the aromatic herb or the spice or the vegetables. Okay? And the kilaw. In Waray area, it's always hinatukan. Here you would even have, this is still the tinola. This is alugbati and with the hulabtug, bell pepper, to add more spice. I would sometimes put that for a zing, maybe a little more of the ginger. So that would vary from community to community and person to person preference. Okay? The kilaw, I agree with Chef Richard. Okay, this is the tanglad, which the Visayans use all over the Visayas. Tanglad na balikutus, when you knot them, you shape it into a knot. This can be boiled vegetables. Okay, let's go down. And then we have all sorts of combination of vegetables. Utan Bisaya is wonderfully textured. What you showed in by the chef earlier is very rich in various kinds of vegetables altogether, including the gabi. We have souring ingredients, kamyas for Cebu, but one for Leyte, and perhaps Samar. No? And basically, you have mild, maybe 2 pieces of them in Samar, but in the island, they would have 3 to 4, but one sourer there in the west, milder here, and it's a bit tart. There is a tartness, murag masapnud, no? There's a tartness to but one. Basically, if none is available, not in season, we would have calamansi. Okay, for souring ingredients. There's the batuan that Chef Richard mentioned. And then for the Tagalog, I have to show you this sinigang na bangus of the Tagalog. They would squeeze tamarind, okay, tamarind fruit, boil it and squeeze out the juice and put it into this one pot. And you would have labanos, radish. Do the Cebuanos use radish? It's a bit, it's a strong, very strong tartness and bitterness. the radish. We don't have that in Waray area. That's a bit too strong. So between Cebu, there's the tamarind, which is very Tagalog. Bulacan. I have a friend who's a Bulacanyo. My goodness. You have one bowl of tamarind, boil it. It's not even ripe because ripe would be sweet. It's the raw, it's the unripe tamarind that they would boil and squeeze. A bowl of the juice goes into your pot. The Waray would really just smirk and make faces. We cannot take anything as sour as that of the Tagalog sinigang. That's why it's already called sinigang. Chef Richard mentioned that. When it has souring ingredient. Okay, so the Visayans have milder sour. But the top chefs in the Philippines would agree that we are more into the sour because even our sausawan is sour. Kinilaw always has vinegar or calamansi that would kill the langsa, the fishiness. It's cooking just a step from the freshness out of the sea. You cannot have kinilaw if the fish is not fresh. Or any other, even the vegetable. No, we can kilaw papaya fruit or the fiddle fern, pako, and the lato seaweeds. Just add calamansi or vinegar. In Waray area, definitely we would have coconut milk, gata. Masbate, I'm glad Chef Richard said that earlier. No, Masbate has coconut milk also. And Cebu depends on where, but there are areas which do not use the gata. You in Palmgrass, the chef in Palmgrass uses a bit of the gata. The waray-waray would have really viscous gata, the tuno, the very, very rich, pure gata without the water. The very, very rich, very viscous. We call that masapatok. Masaputok. Masaputok, malantok. There. Okay, so this is common. There is the kinilaw na pako, fiddle fern. And you can add spices. Utan Bisaya, 𝗷𝗵𝗲𝗄𝗏 combination. You have your own basic ingredients depending on what's available. And here in Leyte, we would have the lawot-lawot, mix. We would not have anything in extreme, and it is unified. The taste is unified again by coconut milk. And there is an aromatic herb called sangig, which is sweet basil. Sweet basil. We call sangig, which the manubus in Cotabato, this is a bundle of vegetables. The one on the left, you see, with flowers extending, that is the sangig or sweet basil. And then we can also add, there are basic ingredients. I won't, maybe in the question and answer forum, if you're interested, I can give, we can have as much as 28 here in Burawin, 28 vegetables in one soup. As many as that, very, very textured, and they are unified by the coconut milk. And so colorful also. This is Iloilo. Ginataang tambo, bamboo shoots with saluyot, takway, okra. Oh my goodness, so slippery to the taste. Very textured, very rich also. Okay, and they could add local snails or shrimps. It's really the coconut that unifies the taste of the waray. The ginataang tambo with the saluyot, that is Ilonggo. They also have coconut milk, and the coconut milk enriches. But Cebu doesn't have coconut milk. Do you put sometimes coconut milk in Utan Bisaya? Did I hear Chef Richard say it, or it was in the tinola, right? Coconut milk, which is very unusual. I think that's all for the common dishes. These are all traditional, very basic, and ancient, I would say.
Daghang salamat, Professor Joyce. Of course, we have also ginunoang utan Bisaya. So we have also our tuno is the gata. So in Cebuano, tuno is gata is tuno. So we have also, so it's common because there are so many coconuts in our islands, right? So when the Spaniards came here, they already saw coconuts, and we ate and drank coconut. so Chef Richard has an interaction. He wanted to say something.
Yeah. Just a small, just an added information because there was two common ingredients that came up in the presentation. You have the gata or the tono, and you also have the tinoa or the souring ingredients and the 𝗏𝗏𝗴𝗏 also. In my observations, but of course, different people have different observations. But in my observations, in my travel here in Cebu province, in my observation, we do not add 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 in our fish soup. Because I think they did not like the slippery, slimy texture of the fish broth when 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 is added. We normally add malunggay. Very simple. Actually, our tinola here in Cebu is more watery. It's more watery than more veggie. Unlike in Luzon, in which their sinigang is, I think, 60% meat, while the rest are vegetable, like the labanos, eggplant. They also add.
Yeah, that is
Here,
true.
our tinoa is more watery. It's fish, but basically the required ingredients, the tinola here should have ginger. I've noticed ginger. Oftentimes they also add tangad or the lemongrass. And
Right.
if they like to add, Ma'am 𝗖𝗍 is correct that the more tomatoes you add to your soup or your tinola, you are creating a new dish, which is no longer tinoa, but you call it dinarang in Cebu.
Dinarang.
Oh,
That's
great.
another-
Okay, so that's another step with the present.
Yes, that's-
Okay, thank you.
That's another version of
Okay.
sinigang. Souring it with plenty of
Yes.
tomatoes.
So it's a
basically,
degree.
basically that's how our tinoa differs.
Wow.
That's our tinoa. It's different from the other tinola in other Visayan area. And of course, let's talk about coconut milk. The Cebuanos, in my observation also, when they use coconut milk to their dish, they use it sparingly. It's maybe
Right.
they are not
That is
used.
true.
They are not used to using it, or para nila, it's for them it's expensive to use coconut milk. Now let's compare it to how we use coconut milk in Masbate. Masbate is a town or that's part of the Bicol region. In Masbate, when we use coconut milk, the same as they are using it in Samar, we use the kakang gata or the first extraction or the dalisay na gata. So in other words, when we use the coconut milk in Masbate, we are treating it like water in the faucet. We do not skimp on it. We do not skimp on it. Now, you compare it in Cebu. If you order a dish that is ginataan, there's barely a thin traces or thin layer of coconut milk, and I'm sure it's no longer the first extraction. They just want it milder. In other words, unlike in Bicol area, that's really very
information.
Yes, and coconut
Yeah,
milk
because
is
it's already
very
Bicol.
nutritious.
very creamy. Yeah,
It's very nutritious,
Yes.
and coconut is virgin coconut oil is antiviral. It's proven to be one of the those that to manage COVID. So there were experiences here that there were they gave virgin coconut oil to like those with COVID and they got healed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
What?
yes,
They
it's
got healed. They got healed.
antiviral. Coconut milk has antiviral and coconut oil has antiviral, antibacterial, antifungal properties. So it's very important during the pandemic. So daghang salamat Chef Richard and Professor 𝗖𝗍. We would like now to show you Chef Janilyn would like to show you our dishes at our utan Bisaya. Our utan Bisaya sa our utan Bisaya sa kapihan ni Lumaya, and it's named in honor of a character in folklore. So Lumaya is a character in folklore who was said to be an original a grandfather of 𝗏𝗏𝗵𝗏𝗏, but it's not archival. It is a folklore that Lumaya is the the founder of Cebu. So this is, and we have a version of that, the tinunuan, or the tinunuang utan Bisaya. So we have it's which one sells more, the clear vegetable soup, or the clear utan Bisaya, or the with tinunuan? What is your experience? So there are more orders for the clear utan Bisaya than tinunuan. But I also know someone, a journalist who comes here, he always orders the one with tuno, with gata, with coconut milk. So we also have at our 𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗏, we also have our version of the pinakbet. Did Professor Joyce mention about the pinakbet? So we also have our version of the pinakbet, or the pakbet, pinakbet. And then for our, so that's our pinakbet with bagoong. So also for our 𝗵𝗲 SuTuKil, we have our lato. It's included, right? So it's included in our 𝗵𝗲 SuTuKil as side dishes. We have the lato, and also the puso sa saging. The puso sa saging has coconut milk, di ba? And then, of course, we want to show you that we have also our buko, that, of course, according to Professor Joyce, when the Spaniards came here, they were offered buko, the water of the coconut water. We made it into a salad, so we have a buko fruit salad. So this is part of the bahog-bahog, or the budol fight at 𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗏. And of course, at our Hardin Dagami bar, we also have our 1,000-year-old drink. So what was the drink that was offered, or that 𝗗𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗏 was drinking? They were drinking it in a clay jar, in a jar, and with a reed. Straw nila. They used straw, like a reed, a straw, and it's communal drinking. About three would. Professor Joyce has an illustration of that. So Ferdinand Magellan, when he came to Cebu, he saw Raha Humabon having a drink in a coconut jar with, of course, our 1,000-year-old drink, tuba. So this tuba, we have tuba here. And tonight, there will be a tuba drinking contest at 𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗏. The one who would be able to finish 1 gallon, one glass of tuba wins with exciting prizes. So lami ning tubaan, this is a healthy drink. Oh, lami siya. Lami siya sa murag bag-o pa ni, not yet bahal. This still new, bag-o ni siya, bagong dawat ni. Mahubog na ko ani. So now we would like to ask again Professor Joyce to describe the distinct qualities of Visayan dishes and delicacies. Are you muted? Please unmute. Please unmute.
Hello, can
Yes.
you hear me now?
Yes, now.
Yes,
we
can you hear me now?
hear you now.
I think this had to do with rice taste, delicacy. Let's see what we prepared there, and then I'll state quality that I think describes very much the Visayan dishes or delicacies. I think we already started talking about creaminess, the range between the watery and the creamy. The watery, which is thin to viscosity, that has to do with the presence of the coconut, which is also an option for the Cebuano taste. Can we proceed with the pictures, please? Hello? Yeah.
Yes.
There. You have puto 𝗥𝗶𝗃 for Cebu until Dumaguete. So you have a combination. There is also combination. Pagpadis, there is a pairing of taste. So we have rice, puto, sumang, no, puto 𝗥𝗶𝗃. And then there will be an additional dimension. This is the fruit, which is mango, a little bit sour. So you have bitter, bittersweet, paired with something bland, sweet, but not quite sweet. No, this ideal kind of home flavor. So rice is base, and then you have various tastes that go with the rice. In this case, we have a pairing there. We have the thickness of the two, and then we have. It's always good if the chocolate is also thick. That is for Cebu. And then I think I prepared the slide for Waray, right? Let's look at that. Aha, this one. Very thick. Very thick. We also have the suman 𝗥𝗶𝗃. We would have that. But it is not popular as the moron, which is the favorite. Here I have a sample here. There you have a picture of the moron. Can you see?
Show.
Here, I have a sample of the moron. It's a chocolate suman.
Maybe have
It's a
Professor
chocolate
Joyce
suman.
bigger of Professor
Yeah,
Joyce.
you can. This is the waray. The
Yeah.
waray. This is later. You see, this chocolate suman. When I was a child, because they would have perfectly shaped whirling spirals. So I was fascinated with the way they were arranged into circles, and there were spirals and spirals all over the platter. So this is a popular favorite pasalubong: sticky rice with two flavors, the chocolate and that without the chocolate. Okay, so pairing also of is a contrasting of the extreme, what is bland, and then we have the bitterness of the chocolate, and the sweet is also in the chocolate, a little sweet on the white. And here is okay, fantastic. This is the binagol, which was
Yes. I love binagol.
look that is okay. It is wrapped. It is among. It's called that we have the coconut shell, which is called bagol. Binagol placed in a coconut shell, and that is a root crop known as which is as akin to taro. It's very thick, but it's toxic if you don't boil it for several hours. So that is the genius of stores. But I think this is a recent. We have not dated. Okay, the inside is a caramel. So that it there is a layer that's thick and bland, and the very sweet there caramel is syrupy. So it's so sticky, but it is so sweet and it stays in your mouth. So and it is it's a tremendous buccal experience when you eat either both. It's thicker here, thicker and thick siya. Talian. It is called the Talian. And the Panay, because my roots are in Panay Island, in Capiz and 𝗵𝗵𝗄𝐿𝐺. Let's move to the next slide. I have my memories of Capiz. When you say Capiz, it's in Denday. That picture is something that my sister prepared and I arranged for the presentation. The rice patties, which has very, very thick ground rice, filet, sticky rice with bukayo. And they are mixed together. They are also very, very sticky, but the sleepiness of the coconut will play in your mouth. The 𝗖𝗵𝗲𝗖𝗔, of course, we have moist, okay, ground rice with coconut wrapped in. Sometimes they're wrapped in paper, but this one is traditional, wrapped in coconut, in banana leaves. And Iloilo is pinasugbo, which is hard, crunchy, and then it also has the caramel added with the little pieces of the sesame. So what do we think is that experience, that kind of gustatory experience, when we have all this karanon, this delicacy? Let's see at this surprise. It is surprising. I enjoyed seeing about this. Let's go down. So it has to do with Okay, when we refer back to kinilaw, freshness, even the rice, they have to be as good as newly harvested rice. You have this incredible freshness of being in the words of in the book Kinilaw, and that follows for all other vegetables. I think chefs know that very well. I know Chef Rich can talk about the quality of freshness as primary to our taste, especially for chefs. So incredible freshness. What else? Let's go down some more. Go down. Sige lang. Well, because we are an inter-island community, archipelagic, especially in the Visayas. And the sea is abundant as well as the land, that we can meld both land and sea. We can have the best of the sea and the best of the soil of Mother Earth. And out of the culture of abundance is the generousness, the generosity of the people, because there are plenty. And if there are extras, we dry our fish, we salt the fish extra, we make bagoong because there's we do. We don't throw for hard times. During drought season, then we have the bulad. This was well articulated by Doreen Fernandez and Ed Alec, engineers in food studies. Okay, so there we have freshness, and then there is abundance, there is a plenty, so whatever is available, we can cook. Next slide, please. Abundance, all kinds of seafood, from squids to shells, including the pugita. I think you know very well the different types of the pugita, of the octopus in these recipes. All right. Next slide, please. Go lang. Ayan, the freshness of the vegetables, the freshness of rice, and we don't waste this. But it is so abundant, we don't throw them away. Okay, we still fry with the fried rice. So, masyadong masagana. Ang ating kapaligiran ay nagbibigay the group of work. And because of because of this abundance, we experience various textures. So what is that? That is the sensorial, the sensual experience. When you say the way to someone's heart is through the stomach, it goes through the mouth first. It doesn't go straight to the stomach. So the pleasure is not in the stomach. It's in the, it's in the tongue, right? The sensuality, the sensuous experience is in the mouth, the tongue, the inner recesses, and this is secret. You're the one who knows the taste. It's a very personal relationship. For more pictures, and I think we're close to my thesis about the sensuousness. This is the experience. Oh my goodness, capis. They would have I used to have oysters at Campo Fernandez in Cebu. We were in UP, in Lahug, and we would go to wine. We love oysters because in connection with our tongue, with our lips. And that's of the Sidugma, Ed Alegre, want to what he says, say, you've got the skin. This is the pampano, the pampano of the scales, and skin is fat and oily. We love that and eat the various textures also of the various parts of the head and the tail and have the more slides.
Professor Joyce.
When you eat, yes.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Me still?
Now. Okay, continue.
Okay. This one, the experience of the lato, you know that very well, but you don't talk it. When each little grape, little fruit, seaweed would burst into your mouth, the juice that comes out, it's a little sticky, and it stays there for a while, empty, and they play in your tongue. So it's a nutritious. I would refer to that as implosive. Explosive external. This experience of gustatory experience is internal. It is implosive. O, sa akin yun galing yung original, hindi na to experience. There you have the same kind of experience with the busal, the various textures of the local fruits, the papaya, the mango, the saging, nata de coco, right? Nata de coco, it's a bit hard, it resists a bit, so you have this push and pull kind of experience in nata de coco. And then in your mouth. And you know that very well. And therefore, the parameters, okay, the feel of the now, this is based on the skinny loud texture, which I think is true for all of our gustatory adventures. The feel of the now, the very eating is ephemeral. It's now and then it's gone. It goes into you as to nourish your body. It is also motion, ephemeral, a melody of sensations, crunchy, soft, firm, yielding, salty, Visayan, all vibe. Everything has its own beat. Ingredient counts. It contributes something. The flower, or melodies in the rain. That is how poetically that experience texture. And these are the songs that we feel. It's like a rhythm in our experience. And we minutia, gamay, little experience. They are so pleasurable. You know, for the Visayan, we are dancers. We are champions of dance. We are the most dancer-like being, bodies, right? That is how it registers. Kinesthetic, down. Finally, what? So the sensual is we feel through our bodies. Is there a final slide? The liquid content viscosity, which is true, the viscosity of the coconut milk or without it, can also be a combination and degree of viscosity. Okay, these are little things. Anyway, we don't have to discuss that anymore. Malagkit, no? The sticky rice. So rich in the food object as well as in the delicacy and breadth of the language. Terms for all of this experience. And there has to be more research on the terminology experience.
Daghang salamat, Professor Joycey. I love how you describe the food. It's so poetic. It's just like the rain, like the song. So our young people would really be now excited to taste Visayan food, not just fast food, Western food, because of how we should propagate how you describe the food. It's so poetic. It's so di gyud mutkaon jud ka if you hear and if you read.
The words were really originally Ed Alegre's.
Yes,
Yeah.
your husband was so poetic. It's so beautifully described. So now you already have a question also from our audience at Pamgras the Cebu Heritage Hotel page. The question is about, is it true nga if you use or add kamatis or tomato in the tinuwa or tinola, and if you add coconut milk in the utan or kinilaw, it would spoil, dali ra siya ma-spoil. and then it wouldn't last long. What can you say about this, Professor 𝗖𝐿𝐺? Does
Yes,
does the coconut
yes, I
milk?
think Chef Richard can talk more about it. But my layman, I'm not a chef. I'm just a mom who cooks in the kitchen if I can. That's why quinoa is no longer good on second serving. It has to be eaten. If you're having it breakfast, have it breakfast. For the second serving, it's no longer as good because quinoa, yun yung ephemerality, the passing. Grab it when it's there. It's the moment. Grab it. Especially if you put the tomato. Okay, even onions. Onions would also spoil.
Okay. So,
Like if
Jerome,
you
that's
have
the answer.
hinatukan yeah, you spoil coconut milk. You can freeze coconut if you wish.
Okay. Daghang
Hello?
salamat, Professor
Yeah,
𝗖𝐿𝐺.
freeze
We have more.
coconut milk. Maybe
Yes.
Chef Richard has other details.
Yes. We have more questions for Professor 𝗖𝐿𝐺 in a while. So before that, we would like to have to show you the puto maya, mangga, and ugsikwate sa kapihan ni Lumaya. So Chef Janeline would show you our sikwati. Our sikwati is actually processed. The tablia is processed by the kapihan ni Lumaya kitchen. So they are the ones who roast the cacao, they roast it and they form it. And then we also have our putumaya and manga. And this is available all the time. Is it available all the time? Unless it's sold out. So that's the putumaya, manga, ugsikwati at kapihan ni Lumaya, mentioned by Professor 𝗖𝐿𝐺 as one of the delicacies in Cebu. And also, we have also here our budbud. So in Tagalog, it is suman. So it is another kind of sticky rice. So a delicacy made with sticky rice. So we have our suman, budbud, and this would be our snacks this afternoon here at our. Is this our snacks this afternoon? So our on-site audience would be able to eat our budbud here at Kapihan ni Mulmaya for free. So our audience online would be tasting our budbud virtually. Can you share with them our budbud? So you eat it virtually na lang yun. So you just imagine the taste of the budbud. So daghang salamat, Chef Janeline. So now we would like to ask also Chef Richard to give his answer to that question regarding the spoiling of a dish if it has tomato in it, if the quinoa has tomato, and if the utan bisaya has tuno or coconut milk, does it spoil fast?
Yeah, I agree with Ma'am Joyce that when you add milk or coconut milk to a dish, it should be eaten in one setting. Or if you want to actually keep some leftover, you need to refrigerate it because it does spoil faster. Also, in Masbat, ako, personally, when I'm cooking a dish that has that I will be adding coconut milk, I normally do not add I add the coconut milk on the last step of the cooking process when I'm about to serve it. Meaning to say, dish that you do not need to boil the coconut milk together with the dish. You just have to mix it while the dish is hot. So what I do is that I have already coconut milk that I keep in the ref, and then when I'm about to serve the half of the food, I just add it on top and then mix it together, so that the rest of the dish, if it's not consumed on that event, will not spoil faster. Now, when it comes to tomatoes, recently raman nga ang tomato becomes a factor when the dish becomes spoiled. And I think that has something to do with our tomatoes being how do you call that? Being classified now as genetically modified organism. Meaning to say, the tomatoes that we are buying now in the market, the large tomato, as large as apple, no longer contain the acidity that it used to have long time ago when it's not yet GMO or genetically modified organisms. Because the acidity in the tomato actually preserves the dish, not spoil it. But sad to say, most of our tomatoes now are not the tomatoes that I have tasted when I'm cooking the fresh tomato pomodoro, the tomato sauce in Italian. They are using actually the canned one, but the canned one is very, very sour. Unlike our tomatoes here that are bland. But I hope there are still local tomatoes that are not GMO.
Okay. Daghang salamat, Chef Richard. Now we would like to recognize those who are online, your students mostly. So we have Chris Tambagos, hashtag SuTuKil, Irish. And we also have Kyle Kagakit, BSHM1. And we also welcome those who have arrived just now. Welcome, maayong pag-abot sa Pamgar sa Cebu Heritage Hotel. Hope you will enjoy our discussion, our showcasing of our local dishes, our Visayan dishes. Now we would like to ask Chef Richard to describe the Cebuano palate in the different towns, the flavors of the different towns in Cebu.
Play the second part of my presentation. And before I will start the discussion on the Cebuano palate or the prevailing food all around the Cebu provinces, I also would like to recognize my student, si Carmela Alcoseba, the president of our Hospitality Management Society, for dropping by. She actually texted me that she wants to see me today because of the online classes. We haven't seen each other for more than 2 years, almost 2 years, except today. So she took the opportunity to come and visit me. Thank you very much, Miss Alcoseba. Okay, for a while, I am trying to
so while Chef Richard is looking for his slide, do we have the slide? So this is the Sibunga first. It's in your screen.
Yeah.
Yes. So we have.
Okay, it's here. Okay. Now, remember that my presentation of the prevailing palette and flavors in Cebu province, I'm not saying that this is the complete picture. But so far in my travel, this is actually what I saw and tasted. And you also have to remember that what I'm presenting to you are actually created by local community in which I happen to stay or drop by. You cannot find this in how do you call that? You cannot find this in restaurants in Cebu City, but you can find this when you travel all over Cebu province. Atong first stop is the southern town of Sibunga, where they have what you call the paella millet. We all know what is a paella. It's a rice dish in which you add all types of meat, vegetables also, and oftentimes the strictest term, the true paella, is using the expensive saffron. It adds flavor to the dish, it adds kick. But since we are in Cebu, rather than using the saffron, which is very expensive, more expensive than gold Dow when you compare it to the price, when you compare it to the grams, they have decided to use the 𝗏𝗏𝗏 paste. The 𝗏𝗏𝗏 paste is actually brought to us by by Spain. When they are en route to Mexico, traveling to the Philippines, they got this. 𝗏𝗏𝗏 is also known as anato, seeds, or anato. There are 3 forms of the 𝗏𝗏𝗏. You have the paste, you have the powder, and you have the seeds. The powder, you can add it immediately while you're cooking, and the paste, also you can add it. Well, the seeds, you have to soak it in lukewarm oil or water before you can actually extract the flavor. So this is what you call the paella millet. Why is it millet? Because rather than using the rice, we have decided to use the millet. What is a millet? It's a type of grain that is found in Catmon, majority found in Catmon, the northern part of Cebu. It's harvested on top of the mountain. It can only be planted during off-season. Meaning to say, after they harvested their agricultural product, This time that they plant the millet during the resting of the soil, so that they will still be more productive. Now, the millet is actually very versatile. You can use it as a rice. You can cook it as a rice. You can incorporate it into your into your savory dish. You can also make dessert out of it. You can make it into cookies. You just add a little bit of flour so that you can actually form it. Because the problem with millet is that it has less gluten. That's why it does not form so well. You can add it in your, how do you call that, churros, if you like. So it's very versatile. You can actually ground it into fine powder so that you can add it to thicken your sauce. So in this dish, this is what you call the paella millet. We use the millet rather than the rice. By the way, the millet is considered as one of the ingredients found in the ark of taste, meaning to say, it's if farmers will decide no longer to continue planting it, then it's going to disappear from the face of the earth. That's why the provincial tourism office is actually continuously training them, encouraging them to continue producing or planting millet. Now, they also have the adobong pusit. In that photograph, there are two types of adobao. The adobao using, adding everything, including the squid ink, while the other side, they remove the squid. So you have the whitish dish. Now, what's the difference between these two? All of these are actually, I consider all of this very original. But I prefer the other side, the squid without ink, or the white squid adobao, is more cosmopolitan. Because, we do not like, oftentimes people in the city, when they dine in the restaurant, they do not want to blacken their teeth after eating the squid ink. But for me, squid ink adds to the texture. When you go to Masbate, where our squid is very fresh, it's a crime committed by housewife or household cook if they will cook the adobao without adding the squid ink. It's considered a culinary crime. Okay, so that's one. So let's from Cebu nga. Here, this is again from Cebu nga. Oftentimes, when they are cooking, they use firewood, the traditional source of heat. The source of heat in Cebu, in most of the town, is very important because it adds to the flavor. It adds to the voluptuousness of the texture of the food, rather than just using pressure cooker or the easy method of heat transfer. They normally use firewood or charcoal. Now, from the Cebu nga, let's travel to Tabugon, southern part. I have to credit the owner of this pork humba, which is Ma'am Emma Hortilano of Egg Online Store. You can actually search it in the internet if you want to order, and just drop by in Tabugon and pick up your order. This is their version of pork humba. This time, their pork humba, if you look at it, is actually a little bit sparkling. Because if I'm not mistaken, rather than adding ketchup, they add a little bit of 𝗵𝗄𝗏 oil or the annatto oil. And look at the color. The color is actually talking to you. It's like speaking to you. Come on, eat me. It's very, very yummy by just looking at it. Although I am using an old traditional camera phone, it did not give justice to the dish. But I guarantee it's very delicious. Now, another version of the paella that you will find in Tabugon is this one. Their paella is so loaded with seafoods. They have the crabs, they have the shrimps, they have the corn. Another version of their paella. Actually, that's paella, but this time they have decided to use the tomato paste rather than use the annatto seeds. And you can compare the color. The paella with tomato paste and tomato sauce is reddish, really, while the one is actually sparkling red. Okay, so next is Aloginsan, one of my favorite tourist and culinary destination in Cebu. Aloginsan, okay, they have the pritong dalupapa. You can find it in Hermit's Cove if you're planning to stay there. But what is the lupapa? It's a diamond back squid. It's a huge squid that when it's laying or swimming in the water, you can see its back. It's like a diamond, ang color niya. And then when you try to approach it, be ready because it's going to bomb you with water. The mouth niya can actually be a weapon for it. They will actually bomb you with water. You will be stunned. So that's how you make the pritong dalupapa. Although there's a technique in cooking this because it's so the squid is so huge, you expect the meat to be tough. That's why some of the local cook in Sibunga, oftentimes neglect cooking the lupapa when it's very common to them. But it's actually again a seasonal fish, seasonal seafood or seasonal squid. You cannot find it all year round. The technique in cooking the lupapa is you peel it. You peel the skin. You expose the meat because the meat is tender. But if you overcook the meat, it becomes tough as rubber. That's another technique that only local cook has the innate ability. Now let's go to the skin. When you remove the skin, you will see some of the cook throwing the skin because for them it's useless. Wrong. You can actually tenderize the skin, boil it, and you will get the texture of pata humba. It's when you boil the how do you call it, the pork knuckles or the pig's leg, and it has the same texture as the skin of the lupapa or the diamond back squid being it also has the same result and it has the same texture. So what do you do with it? You can use it into miswa to flavor your miswa, to flavor your noodles, to flavor your pancit. It has a deep texture. It has an amazing, I cannot describe it. It has an amazing effect on your mouth. Lami, super kalami, as what we used to say. It has the sweetness that you cannot, the sweetness that is different from the sweetness you can find in sugar. So, mauna ang pritong dalupapa. But of course, Sibunga is also, aside from being a seaside town near to the Tanyon Strait, very deep water, but it's protected area, so you cannot just fish anytime there. The fishing community is regulated. So therefore, the fish that you are caught are limited. So therefore, what other food sources that they can get? They have the native chicken. This time, unlike the native chicken that is captured and imprisoned in carbon market, when you look at them, most of them are already sickly. You can find the healthiest native chicken roaming around, enjoying their very short life until the local cook catch them and then, turn them into tinibuok na manok. So what is tinibuok na manok? It's simply whole chicken cooked in the bahalina, ma'am. The tuba you should drink today. That's how they cook this tinibuok na manok. Okay, you can find it in 𝐒𝐮𝐷. And then you also have the adubaong lumayagan. Ang adubaong lumayagan, I do not know what is the English term of this type of squid. It's pusit. It's very small, but oftentimes people does not like to eat it because it emits a very strong smell. But they are wrong. If they catch the lumayagan very fresh from the sea, they can actually cook it into adubaong lumayagan, like in 𝗤𝐿𝐵, like what you are showing in the picture. And by the way, these photographs are actually irregular in presentation because this is actually, what you find in when they're serving it. This is what you will find when you're going to that. Okay, another dish in 𝗤𝐿𝐵 is the tinolang manok or the tinoang manok, complete with vegetable. I will no longer discuss this because it's common, it's simple, but it's very delicious. Now, presenting to you the heritage delicacies of 𝗤𝐿𝐵, the puto na buli. Puto na buli. Buli is a type of root crop in which they grate it and then they cook it inside a bamboo cooking vessel And then it turns out like that. They drizzled it with calamay. It's very tasty. You know what's so unique about this dish is that if you have time and you want to stay in 𝗏𝗏𝗏 for, you know, for quite a generous time, they can actually present a simple ceremony, meaning to say they are dancing and they are singing while they are cooking the puto na buli, because their presentation is in honor of their anito, because ang buli, they usually get it in the forested part of 𝗏𝗏𝗏 and they have to ask permission. In fact, once a year during the anniversary of the place, they have to slaughter pig or chicken as an offering to the anito. And that practice is still common in 𝗏𝗏𝗏. Okay? So, another heritage food in 𝗏𝗏𝗏 is the 𝗵𝗵𝗏, or oftentimes known as 𝗖𝗨𝗨 in other parts of the Cebu province. But this time, the 𝗵𝗵𝗏 of 𝗏𝗏𝗏 is actually cassava that has been grated, squeezed, steamed, and then sun-dried. And then when you are going to, di ba ma'am? When you are serving it here already, then you cook it like a 𝗏𝗏𝗏 without the additional or harmful preservatives. The good thing about the 𝗵𝗵𝗏 or the cassava chip is that you can pair it with any dips and sauces. You can eat it all day long. If you like salt, then go ahead. Sprinkle it with salt. If you want to dip it in salsa, go ahead. If you want to make it into the Mexican nachos, smothered it with cheese and meat sauce, that will again do. Okay? And for me, no, without putting other Cebu community in disadvantage, 𝗏𝗏𝗏 produces one of the finest and best tasting 𝗵𝗵𝗏. Okay? Now, you have that tinubaang manok, another version in 𝗏𝗏𝗏. Okay, now let's go to Camotes. Camotes, being an island, is naturally surrounded with, rich seafood bounty. Here, you have the tinoang, a blue marlin. You look at what's the difference between the tinola in poor communities and the tinola in Camotes, which I consider to be somewhat rich in seafood resources. They are using the blue marlin, while in medyo lagyo nga communities far away from the ocean, they will use the smaller type of fish. Okay? They also have their adobaong pusit, but this time it has more fresh tomato, rather than soy sauce. And of course, with the absence of the squid ink again. But as I've said, they are serving it in the restaurant, so people might not like their teeth being blackened by squid ink after they eat it, because they are obliged to brush their teeth afterwards. But if you want to enjoy the adobaong pusit in all its glory, in my preference, is always include the squid ink. Okay? In Samboan, I forgot what type of crab is this. This is another crab found I think that it's found in rock formation, not really in the ocean, but rock formation in the sand. Also, they usually cook it like this with fresh turmeric and coconut milk. But the turmeric is more in quantity than the coconut milk. Okay. The difference with this type of crab is that it has a strong earthy flavor. It's like you're eating mushrooms. Unlike the lambay that are common in Cebu, which is soft and moist, the bad crab, which is firm, this one is very pronounced in flavor. Okay? Now, another dish, I am not sure if they are still serving this, is from Samboan, courtesy of the tourism officer of Samboan, with the person of Miss Marivec Calderon. This is amazing because you have the entire squash, they carve it, and they place assorted meat and then they steam it inside a thick pot, and then they cook it in an open fire, an open flame. So, meaning to say, the squash serves as a cooking vessel itself, at the same time become part of the dish. Actually, I've seen this in other countries, but rather than using meat, they use octopus, whole octopus. Okay? It's actually, again, a unique way to enjoy the Cebuano flavor. I did not include the more generic like the crispy pata, lechon kawale. I did no longer include that. Okay? In Tuburan, they also have the 𝗵𝗵𝗃𝗃 manok. It's simply, this time, courtesy of Grace Gallarde, Ma'am Grace Gallarde. It's native chicken. It's native chicken cooked with 𝗵𝗃𝗃. It's like an adobo, but they don't add vinegar. They don't add soy sauce. They have the other ingredients of an adobo except for vinegar and soy sauce, but more on turmeric, more on 𝗵𝗃𝗃. It's more oily, but it's also very good. You can also find this in Catmon. In fact, if you're familiar with the Catmon area, there is a restaurant there that has been in existence since time immemorial. They call it the Doko. You go there, they serve one of the best 𝗵𝗵𝗃𝗃 manok. Okay? So, in Alcoy also, when we went to their mountains, of course, you can expect Alcoy, as we all know, it's a mountainous area. So therefore, very limited, they have a very few seafood resources there. We also prepared this version of adobong pusit. This time, they use the small pusit, but they include the squid. But all the squid ink, the ink is not as black as the large squid. So you get a lighter sauce that resembles like an adobo. It's also very delicious. And of course, the only fish that is available in that mountain, there are actually only two fish that are available in that, the tulingan and the barungoy, or the flying fish. Did I say it right? Flying fish is barungoy, di ba? Common, very common in Balamban areas. Okay? So, yeah, you have there. So, therefore, Alcoy being a mountainous area, there are plenty of farm animals. So, you have the chicken, again, the tinolang manok. You have the vegetable. You know what? This is one of my most memorable travel with the provincial tourism office, because after we cook all the food, we set up the buffet near the cliff under a giant tree. It's like enjoying the bounty of nature, enjoying the food that it provides, and at the same time enjoying the natural coolness of the environment. It's unforgettable experience. Now, another, this one, they have the buko salad. But this buko salad is unlike the buko salad in Cebu City, in which it's creamy and sweet. The buko salad is more like a salad, as defined in the culinary book. Because when you talk about the word salad in culinary book, the dessert salad of the Philippines or Asian country is an exception. It's an exception. When you talk about salad, it's always savory. Meaning to say it's sour, and at the same time it has meat. Same thing as this. They have created a buko salad that is savory and not sweet. It contains coconut milk. It contains tinapa, the shredded grilled fish. It's also very delicious. Now, another dish that was instilled in my memory is the inununang isda. This time with 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃. Again with 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃. I am very happy that most of the local communities in Cebu are actually using 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃, because 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃 is more affordable rather than using the saffron or using the commercialized tomato paste that has no flavor, very limited flavor. 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃 has its character. It has its pungent. It has its punch. It has its kick. I cannot describe it in one word. I have to describe it in a statement or paragraph. Look at the wonder that a simple 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃 did to the simple inununang isda. And by the way, the vinegar that we use for this dish in Alcoy is not actually a vinegar, but it's tuba. the drink that was just demonstrated by Ma'am Caridad early in the show. Okay, so another dish found in, as I've said, in Alcoy, because it's a mountainous area, is the tortang talong. But this time, we added tomato and tambis. You know what's a tambis? Because tambis is common in actually in uphill area. They do not use the tambis there because they think it's an ingredient that has no value until we have tried presenting them with this dish. Okay, so that's a very generous buffet created with what's available in that area. Now, this is the barungoy that I was talking earlier, the flying fish. Although it does not fly, but it did jump. When you look at it on the surface of the ocean, it jumped. This is the fish that I grew up with during my childhood when I'm residing in Balamban. Because I do not believe that you can find this type of fish outside of Cebu. I could be mistaken, but I haven't seen this one only in Cebu province. Okay. Now I would like also to credit I also would like to credit. I cannot end my presentation on Cebuano flavors without crediting additional information on Cebuano cuisine based on the book Lagda sa Pagpangluto. It's considered as a heritage cookbook. If I'm not mistaken, it's written by Ma'am Ralios. It's heritage because it has been in publications more than 50 years ago. So the two chefs, Chef 𝗏𝗄𝐶 𝗵𝗵𝗲 and Chef 𝗵𝗵𝗲, they are the ones who prepared this dish. This is chop suey, but you will be amazed by their chop suey as they interpreted it from the book of Lagda sa Pagpangluto. In this chop suey, it's 70% meat, 30% vegetable. But the question is why? When our chop suey now is only 10% meat, 90% vegetable. You have also to look at the abundance of meat during the time when the prices of meat are still very affordable. Unlike in our generation today, in which if you want to enjoy cheap cuts of pork, you have to content yourself with imported frozen pork that has no identity, and oftentimes after eating it, you feel scratching all over your body. It's my personal experience. So during that time, the pork is actually very, cheap and affordable. So the ratio for their chop suey is 80% pork, 20% vegetable. Now, another amazing dish from the culinary book Lagda sa Pagpangluto is the bihon binukid. This time, rather than adding meat to the bihon, what they use is buwad, the small dilis, the bulad, the dilis, the small anchovy, dried anchovy. They added it to the bihon binukid as documented in that Lagda sa Pagpangluto. Actually, I have plenty more food photography later on. So for me, that covers the generosity, the adventurousness, the uniqueness of the Cebuano cuisine.
Daghang salamat, Chef Richard, for sharing with us and describing to us also poetically the dishes in the flavors of the different towns in Cebu. So it's just now that I've learned about a dish that is inside a pumpkin or a squash with the meat inside. So that's the first time I've seen a dish like that. So
okay,
our chef.
Okay.
Chef,
let me clarify. This is just a glimpse.
yes.
Because other chefs may have their own interpretation, but since I'm the one sitting down here, then
So we would now like to show you our chef Janilyn would like to show you the 𝗵𝗲𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗏's version of so Chef Richard wasn't able to mention yet the tuburan coffee. We would like to show the humba ni 𝗵𝗲𝗄𝐿. This is the bestseller dish at 𝗵𝗲𝗵𝗵𝗏. So this is our version of humba ni 𝗵𝗲𝗄𝐿. You have seen also our video of the humba. So this is usually really a bestseller dish. It's always available at 𝗵𝗲𝗵𝗵𝗏. And this is named in honor of our hero, General Arcadio Maxilum, because he with Luis Flores led the second phase of the revolution after Leon Quilat was killed in Carcar. So because there was already there was already a set of officers in Cebu, Katipunan at that time. So because we named it in honor of him, because it is just as tasty as the victory of the Cebu Revolution. They led the Cebu Revolution to victory. And just like the humba, it is not fast. You need to simmer it. You need to be patient. And then to have a tasty dish. So this is our humba ni 𝗵𝗲𝗄𝐿. And then also we have also our gisadong nokos ni Lapu-Lapu, named in honor of Lapu-Lapu because their enemy was gigisa. So this is our version of our, is that the gisadong nokos ni Lapu-Lapu? So and then we have, so it has no longer the black ink. So we also have our version of the chop suey. So we have our chop suey here. So it's, how many percent is the meat? Also 10%. And then usually it's a vegetable dish right now. So in the lagda sa pagpagluto, as mentioned by Chef Richard, it's more like a meat dish with garnishing of the of the vegetable. So because Chef Richard was saying about tuburan, so we have we are serving here also tuburan coffee. Aside from the 𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗏, we have 𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗏 at 𝗵𝗲𝗵𝗵𝗏. So the tuburan coffee, so this is from tuburan. So we have also the tuburan coffee here at 𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵. Pareha kaisog ni General Arcadio Maxilum. Tuburan is the birthplace of hero General Arcadio Maxilum. Even if the street in Uptown Cebu is named General Maxilum Avenue, usually known as Mango Avenue. So the street is named in honor of General Maxilum, and General Maxilum was born in Tuburan. So we also have our Chef Richard at first has pictures of Cebu City street food. So we would like to show you our version of our pungko-pungko. Pungko-pungko sa 𝗵𝗲𝗵𝗵𝗏. We have our nguyong. So we have our nguyong. We have our ginabot. Can we just show it from the table?
I'm salivating.
So we have our nguyong, we have our ginabot, and then we have our siomai. So siomai is usually, usually siomai is in tisa, di ba? We usually say that siomai sa tisa. So now, daghang salamat. Do you have other dish to show? That's all. So that is all that Chef Janilyn would like to show. Ang lato, humanana, no? Ang tinua, sinigang. So according to Professor 𝗖𝗵𝗵𝗃, the waray tinola has a souring ingredient. This is but one. And here our tinua, is that sinigang? Tinolang isda. So we have a tinuang isda. So this is part of the Anli SuTuKil, Sugbat Tuwa-Kilaw that we are launching tonight. So today. And we also have our sinigang baboy. Sinigang. So did we already show our kinilaw? So our kinilaw has sili. So according to Professor 𝗖𝗵𝗃 also, the Cebuano kinilaw has sili, unlike the waray kinilaw. So we have sili. So lami kita kay sili. But you have a choice to nga puson ang sili or not. So that's all. We have, so that is all. So let's give a round of applause to Chef Jeneline, who prepared with the other chefs. And it's so yummy because the very important ingredient in all the dishes. Can we show Chef Jeneline? So the very important ingredient of all the dishes cooked by 𝗵𝗵𝗲 chefs is this very important ingredient, which is love. Asa mong heart diha, Jeneline? So, so there is love when preparing the dish. So it's very yummy. Kay kung walay gugma, walay lami. So, but why is it so? Daghang salamat, Chef. So, now, why do we always compare kind of love with food? Like, we would say, mas lami pa kaysa imong ex. And then, so, now we would like to have another question for Chef Richard, and then you would like to ask regarding the origin of Carinderia. So what is the, like briefly, what is the origin? Where did Carinderia start? When did Carinderia start? Okay. Do you have the sound, the audio? Yes.
Okay. Actually, in my research from the book by Chefs Ami and Tony Besa, History of Memories of Philippine Kitchen, there is a page there that briefly detailed the evolution of Carinderia. A Carinderia is really not, at that time, Carinderia is really not Carinderia per se as what we know today. Carinderia is actually, how do you call that? It's been mangled. It's a word that has been mangled from the original word curry. Because according to the anecdote by in the book, there is a British general that happened to, along with his ships long time ago, during the Spanish era, dropped by in Manila Bay at the time. So along with his crew members who are what you call sepoy or Indian, the Indian staff or the Indian crew, alongside with their British captain, as we all know, India at the time is under the control of the British Empire. So therefore, most of their crew members are Indians. So when they dropped by in Manila, the Indians actually was cooking their favorite dish, consisting again with curry powder. Curry powder is one of the most required ingredient in Indian cooking. So after cooking the dish, some of the Indians got out of the boat, bringing along them their food. They happen to, befriend some Filipino who are nearby, and then they gave the dish, which is made of curry or curry dish. Later on, long time after the British general left Manila, some of the Filipino who tasted the curry dish created their own version, which becomes the, what we call that, the kare-kare that we now have, the kare-kare with peanut sauce. But per se, kare-kare, in my research, does not contain curry powder. It's more of an imagination, a harking, a longing for the friendship developed between, the sepoy and the native Filipinos. It's like a commemorative dish. But this time, rather than including the curry powder, which is not common in the Philippines at that time, they created the version kare-kare. And from the kare-kare, I don't know what happened because it was not found in my part of my research. We now have what you call the Carinderia. But according to Ma'am Joyce Dorado, there is another anecdote that she can add to this, nuggets of information. regarding the evolution of karinderya in the Philippines.
Daghang salamat, Chef Richard. We would now like to call Professor 𝗖𝗵𝗲 to add about the beginnings of eateries, food stalls, food carts, carinderias, and
Yeah,
restaurants.
I think it is more particular to what 𝗵𝗲𝗴𝗲 and 𝗵𝗲𝗴𝗲 shared in their book, cited by Chef Chard, has to do with is where they serve kare-kare, curry, no? Curry referring to the word curry in English, which is probably in Indian. But there are really many theories about that, and now we have explanations as what Chef Richard explained earlier, as narrated to us earlier, about how the local Filipinos accept the kare where the place where kare is served, carried food, and we have our version, which is our Alegre indigenous, no? Because we cannot eat Indian food, it is so spicy. It's a mix of several sets. Well, what Doreen Fernandez says in her own, Doreen is the aunt-in-law of 𝗵𝗲𝗴𝗲, and so she would push to origin the term, and also Ed Alegre adds to, where when people search and then they stay longer. Doreen also talks about that when you go to a market, you would like to stay longer, or the sellers, the vendors, for a whole day, then they would have to have breakfast and lunch. Just the ambulant or ang mga anong tawag diyan, naglalakad lang. So they stay, they sit, and there are stalls. So the more permanent they become Kari in Tagalog, that is Doreen's contribution, means cook food, kari, Kari, kari. And it has a place where food is served, where they cook there as well. Serve is karihan, which eventually was connected with karinderya, which is Spanish. It's Hispanized karinderya. Cafeteria is Espanol, as Hispanized term. So, it's not very, very easy. If we really have to look for physical evidences, most likely it's easier for people to look into the language, the terms, and event. So anyway, the point has been how an eating place develops. So then from karinderya, we would have more permanent restaurants. All of these restaurants, and there are adjustments that are already being done to the food, from the traditional and typical dishes to certain adjustments because of the preference by the foreigners. Anyway, so mula sa stall or the ambulant vendors, and then you have sitting stalls, table and a chair, and then you have more permanent stores. Then you would have karinderya, karinderya, turo, because in the karihan or in the karinderya, you just open the pots, or you point. If they're just displayed openly, you point what you want in turo. And then you have the restaurants.
Okay. Daghang salamat, Professor 𝗖𝗵𝗲𝗲. So, of course, when we traded with other peoples, when they would come here, of course, we need to have food stalls for them also to be able to eat. So now we would like to ask Professor 𝗖𝗵𝗲𝗲 regarding this, what is delicious for the Bisaya? What is
The
delicious?
term,
Lami, rasa, namit,
how do you say
sarap.
it? Yes. Look, we have another slide. Do we have the slide where you say lami?
How
In Cebuano, you say, lami, namit. Do I have it there, or it's not there? Do you have it there? The terms. Anyway, can you say it, the word lami, in the Cebuano way? Like you really feel it's good. Lami gyud siya. How do you say it when you say?
Lami
Did you say
good,
it?
lami.
Oh, look at her.
Lami
You're
kayo.
shaking your head. Did you say it again? Look at her. Oh, guapa kayo. Pero look at her, how
Oh,
she moves
yeah.
her head. So, di ba?
Closer ko,
Now,
no?
you say it again. You say lami.
Lami, good. Lami kayo. Lami.
You are
Lami.
moving.
Lami oy.
Yeah, and you're prolonging the lami.
Lami.
Kapag yun,
Kalami.
yun.
And then we have a point, a Visayan point.
Lami.
Yes, Professor 𝗖𝗵𝗲𝗳, pardon, but there's a Visayan poet who has a poem that line there, and they had a poetry reading here, and they were the audience was so happy because the one of the line is "Piste kalami."
Yes, I like the stick. It's exceedingly delicious. Good. Look, you prolong. Actually, you also prolong. And then you're moving your head. Have the similar. It's a cognate. Namit, manamit, manamit. Inflect. Manamit. Na, the na actually, it's the namit. In Waray, it's rasa, marasa, we roll the R, marasa. And it's very obvious the way you said it. Miss Caridad, Miss Agripina, you wonderful, Cebuana, very kinesthetic. It's kinesthetic. There is a rhythm. And when we feel.
Hala, did we? We didn't see. Disconnect siya. You're back. So,
sensorial. It is a sensorial experience.
yes.
Yeah. And we go back to the earlier slide. Yung kanina. We have to buccal experience. It's a buccal experience, oral experience. Deliciousness is an oral experience. It's through the mouth. It's a buccal experience. Can we flash that slide so they will see the words and there would be a register? So it is an oral, buccal, gustatory, gusto, with gusto, mucho gusto. Gusto ka. Pleasure. And it is oral. It is sensual. It starts before it goes through your esophagus and goes down and settles the system. You said it. Agree. You said savoring experience. We see the syllables and what particular your lips close. So it's body experience, and with it's like that. It's kinesthetic. Kinesthetic experience of multiple textures, many textures, like your utanila, kini, the various ingredients all together. Oh, I would say this compared to or the we are linked in terms of the range. We are the subtle. It's a range of subtlety, but very, very rich. You see, it is not like the Ilocano pait or the Bicolano mahang tayo, or the Tagar, or the Maguindanao hangpod. We are in the middle, but in that middle, it is so intense, and that sensuous comes the multiplicity of the various tastes, the gustatory experience. So we are sensuous. Para Pilita Corrales ba? Namuan, namuliad yun siya, di ba? Or si Max Ruban nga, He would sway. Oh, Max Urban would sway. He would sing, and a good song and dance too. Therefore, I would say that's how we are. That's how the Visayans are, essentially.
So you have
Will I
Professor
go to
Joyce
the
has
last?
a discussion more on the sensuality of Visayan food, how sensuous
Yes.
is Visayan food.
That is it. That is how sensuous it is. That's what I'm explaining. That there are
You have
many,
one more slide
many
about that.
tastes. Yes, the many tastes imploding. Right? It is an interference. You can't help but express it. So what happens to the Visayan body? Because it's so great an experience, you cannot hold it back anymore. It's experiencing, it's coming through, it's manifesting. For that. Kung sadya na tayo, we have the lusciousness, the organic, all these textures defined by these qualities, a wide range of the subtlety and sense texture, range of viscosity, from the solid moist, from the water, liquid syrupy. What reflect through the cooking of our particular taste in food, brewing the taste. How is it experienced? How is it conveyed? I think last slide na. So this is the pre-ultimate slide. Let's go for that. My final word. My final word about Visayan taste. The deliciousness, ang tanami.
Nawala siya. So, daghang salamat, Professor Joyce. So, now we would like to show you that we have these books. If you would like to trace the food in the Visayas, we have these books at Palmgrass Basahanan. So, we have here the 𝗵𝗵𝗲𝗃 Picnic by Feliz Prudente Santa Maria, and this is available at Palmgrass Basahanan ni Lumaya. So at our library restaurant, and this is available for. Do we have already free reading? So during the pandemic, we no longer allowed free reading because we will have a hard time sanitizing the books. But this is available for sale. So maybe there would be a few months from now, maybe we would already have free reading of the books at Palmgrass Basahanan ni Lumaya. And we also have this book, 𝗵𝗵𝗲𝗃 Culinary Heritage of Cebu. This is a coffee table book by Luella Alex. So we have this book, 𝗵𝗵𝗃 Culinary Heritage of Cebu. So this is also available at Palmgrass Basahanan ni Lumaya. So now we would like to also to mention that if we read Pigafetta, so Pigafetta was here in 1521 with Ferdinand Magellan. He discussed about the food in Cebu, and he discussed about the food that they ate in the different areas of the Visayas. But even during rituals, food was also used. So there was dancing. So that's according to Professor Joyce, the Bisaya always dance. So during eating, we dance. So even Father Francisco Alcina was saying that there were meal times that would last like 4 hours. Even Pigafetta in 1521 said also that there were meal time, dinner or the meal time could last up to 4 to 5 hours, and they would always drink. So tuba is always present. So they dance during, they sing, they dance. So Bisaya comes from the word saya. So saya, we are also a colorful people. Our fabrics have so many colors, and then there was also a Father Francisco Alcina was saying that when they invite you to a feast, they would say, let's drink, not let's eat. And they would dance, even in a ritual. So there was a ritual of babaylan. The spiritual leaders before the Spaniards came were the women and the gays. So only the women and the gays could perform rituals that they could not eat the pig. When slaughtering a pig, there should be a ritual before they can eat the pork. So before they can slaughter the pig, there is a ritual done. So 𝗵𝗲𝗴𝗃 saw a ritual done by two old women. They were dancing, so that's why we trace our sinulog to that babaylan dance. So they were dancing and they were offering food. So even during rituals, there should be food. So what were the food offered during the babaylan ritual? So there was so in English, the three large dishes are brought in. So during the ritual done by women, the two with roses and with cake. So the rose is not food. So there are roses offered. So there are flowers offered, and there were food offered like cakes of rice and millet. So millet, rice cake and millet cake were offered, baked and wrapped in in leaves, and roast fish. So ang sinugba was also offered. Sinugbang isda. So roast fish was also offered. And the other, so there was another dish with the cloth was also offered with palm tree cloth and cambaya cloth. And there was also a cup of wine. So ang tuba gyud is a ritual, is also a ritual drink. So presented to her of the horns, because there was a babaylan with her headdress shaped like a horn, and she was dancing and repeating words, and they were of course praying and looking up to the sun, and the other answers her and making pretense of drinking the wine. So a good say before, and then they sprinkle the wine to the tuba gito. They sprinkle the wine to the hog, to the pig. So before they slaughtered it. So that's we should learn about our history. We know about our food now, and we trace it back 500 years ago or more than 1,000 years ago. So now we would like to ask Chef Richard regarding this concept of original and authentic. So what is originality and authentic? The concept of originality and authenticity of the Cebuano palate.
Please, my presentation.
So we usually hear original nga siomai, right? Authentic, lechon.
Slide 1, please. I will try to discuss to you the concept of originality and authenticity step by step. We cannot go directly into that discussion without understanding first what is regional cooking. Slide, please. Part 1.
Regional cooking. So there is while we are waiting for that slide, so we have an interaction from Danilo Reyes from the National Quincentennial Committee page. He says, 𝗵𝗵𝗲𝗳 was the one who started a restaurant in New York named Purple Yam. Yeah. And we have also interaction from our audience at the Congress of Cebu Heritage Hotel page from Jinky, who says, with emoji of 2 hearts, Colleen clapping her hand, and 𝗵𝗵𝗲𝗄𝗏, daghan kaaykob nakatunan, 𝗵𝗵𝗲𝗄𝗏, and Kailin also has emojis of heart. So we would like to have Chef Richard.
Okay, when you're talking about we are considered a region, diba? So therefore, our cooking is also based on regional dishes. But regional dishes has its component factor. So when you're talking about regional cooking, the number one characteristic of a regional cooking is that it's diverse. You really cannot document everything. It's so diverse. Why diverse? Because it depends also on the geography where you are located. For example, if you are in an area in which you enjoy the bounty of the ocean, and at the same time you are lying in a lowland, then therefore you get to enjoy plenty of seafoods and at the same time agricultural products, diba? But if if you are located in an uphill area or mountainous area, therefore there will be a limited seafood ingredient for you, but you will have a bounty of domesticated animals like pigs, chicken, and cow. And you also have a limited agricultural products, but plenty of root crops. So it also depends on your geography. Now, if you are also living in a lowland like in Masbate, where we are straddling both large land, and at the same time we are surrounded by deep water fishing. We do not the unique features of Masbate. I have to discuss first Masbate is that although we have a very huge land area, we do not plant vegetables. Why? Because our land is reserved for pasture, reserved for corn fields, reserved for rice field. So therefore, and of course, the planting of coconut tree, because Masbate is considered a copra country. We have plenty of plantation there. So therefore, we consider those crops as more valuable to us than planting vegetable. So where do we source our vegetables? We source it, of course, from Cebu. But of course, the price is very high now. We do not want to sacrifice copra over vegetables. So you have to understand that concept. So that's diverse, and of course, it depends also on geography. As you can see in the photo, oftentimes our cooking methods is anchored in tradition. There are actually home cooks that prefer to use the very traditional mortar and pestle or ang panglusak. Kita mo anang ginabayo? That's the original. For me, that's the original version of our mortar and pestle. I don't know if you are familiar with the one we used to crack peanuts using that one. That one is they have the palm grass half-set. That one is the panglusak. How do you call that here, ma'am? Lusong.
Lusong,
We call it in
alho.
lusong. In Masbate, we call it panglusak. That's used to crack ingredients. Now, also in the photo that I'm showing, you have the pugon. The other one, you have the pugon, diba? So where if you want to bake bibingka, kakanin, you can actually bake it there. It's what you call cooking it using fire below and up. Meaning to say the fire are sandwiched between the upper part and the lower part. So these are the things that determines the regional cooking. Some areas of the region may not have all of these features or characteristics, but oftentimes this is how you characterize what is a regional cooking. Aside from that, another factor is remembering the things from the past. We want to keep it alive by doing what our ancestor used to do in the kitchen. So that's basically characteristic of regional cooking. Now let's delve further. Okay, so you have the diversity. I've explained it already. The geography. It's anchored in tradition. Okay, now in Cebu, there are communities here. I've seen it in Tabugon and San Remigio, where they substitute their cooking vessel by using bamboo. That one in the photo. Kindly please show the photo where they are cooking the other one. Next slide. No. Before. Sorry. Yeah, that one. That is the photo taken in San Remigio. They are cooking. Some household there are actually, or community are actually cooking their food using the kawayan. So therefore, the result is also very aromatic because bamboo, when heated, emits a certain aroma that is complementary to the dish that you are cooking. In fact, they have what they call tinibuok na manok sa kawayan. It's whole native chicken roasted inside a bamboo, like that one. Okay? So, all of these pictures that I'm showing you are taken in my travel all over Cebu province. And some of the communities are still using it. So therefore, their tradition, culinary tradition, is very much alive. Okay? So remembering the things past. The other one, next photo, that one is actually panggaling or galingan, stone grinder, where you are going to ground the rice, glutinous rice. This one is the batirol, where you are, preparing your tableya. The other one are example of hornuhan. This one, the upper photo of hornuhan, that is a surviving hornuhan in Argao, where we documented the preparation of heritage torta. That hornuhan is actually used by the grandmother whom is no longer with them, but oftentimes the son continues the tradition of her grandmother. Although he does no longer accept order of torta using that type of hornuhan, but oftentimes he feel nostalgic for his mom. That's why he will cook torta for us. Okay, that's how one of the characteristic of regional cooking. Before we go into authenticity and originality, let us first delve into what you call baseline recipe. As you all know, foods travel, di ba? Foods travel. The Spanish brought to us adobo. The Spanish brought to us adobo, and there are some actually documentation that balbacoa, the word balbacoa, it's not the same as the barbacoa of Mexico. Barbacoa refers to whole meat being roasted, while al barbacoa here is a stew. It's a stew using beef, beef skin and the tail. So those two are quite different, but oftentimes they may sound the same with one another. But let's take, for example, the adobo. They also have the adobar in Mexico. So therefore, what's the purpose of a baseline recipe? The purpose of a baseline recipe is to list the ingredient that should be present in order to differentiate a certain dish from other countries. So you have the adobar of Mexico. In the adobar of Mexico, they could be using red wine. In Italy, they also have their own version of adobo using white wine or red wine. So therefore, how do we characterize as adobo being Filipino itself? So therefore, there should be at least the presence of this ingredient that is required in the baseline recipe. There should be meat, or there should be protein, sorry. The protein should be pork. Second, there should be cane vinegar or local vinegar. And the third one, there should be onions. Actually, missing ang garlic, anak. Okay? Kanarang tulo. Now, when you add soy sauce to it, it becomes Chinese version of adobo because soy sauce is brought to us by China during the earliest days. So that's baseline recipe. Now, let me relate to you what's the importance of baseline recipe when you are talking about authenticity versus originality. Although it saddens me that in our criticism of culinary, when we pit one region against another region, when we pit one Filipino cook against one Filipino cook, we oftentimes fall we oftentimes allow ourselves to fall into the trap of what you call authenticity. But really, what is authenticity against originality? It saddens me that there is a debate accusing another region, your dish is not authentic. It's copied from my hometown. Your dish is not authentic because mine is more delicious. Let's veer away from authenticity because authenticity is actually cultural canceling. It cancels the skill, the effort, the dedication of the one preparing the food. It totally ignores just because you prepared an adobo that is more popular in other place, meaning to say your adobo has no longer significant in the culinary map. That should not be. Do not measure food as authentic. Rather, measure it as original. Because when you talk about originality, it refers more to the place, to the name of the place, while allowing other chefs to maneuver and recreate something as original as the original dish. So when you are using that concept of originality and removing the, how do you call that, discriminatory concept of authenticity, then we can understand one another. It saddens me that Philippines being being a fractious country, wow, especially in the coming election, we should not include food to divide us. The food is the common language that is supposed to be understood by everyone, whether you are a baby, you are a child, you are an adult, or already an oldie. It should be understood by. We should find communality in our love for food, not create division in our claim of authenticity. So when you're talking about originality, it should, when you're talking about this too, we'd rather go for originality. Okay. Now, why originality? Can you really claim that your food is authentic? Okay. Now, why is it that I do not like the word? I do not like to use the word authentic. Okay. Oftentimes, I have an aunt. In my memory, I have an aunt that cooks very well. In our family, when I'm growing up in Masbate, she cooks for us. She married at a late age of 40 because she devotes her time cooking for us. And I remember most of her food. And I try to recreate those food. But still, I cannot get the exact taste. Kulang. There is missing there. When you are basing when you're cooking food and you are basing it from memory, the memory that you remembers is incomplete compared to what your aunt did a long time ago. So how can you claim that what you are creating is authentic because I copied it from my aunt? Dili naka. The ingredients that your aunt used to prepare is totally different from the ingredients that we have now. In fact, I go to Masbate, our beef, the taste of our beef is no longer as flavorful as the beef that I grew up with. So there is really there should really be no debate about authenticity. The right word for me is originality. For example, you are so in love with the sinugbang pork chop here in Palmgrass. You try to recreate it at home. But the problem is the hands that are cooking it in Palmgrass is different from the hand that you are using while at home. There is really an innate technique that cannot be listed in the recipe. That's the reason why if you are copying, you try to give a standardized recipe to two chefs. Let them cook following the same recipe, using exactly the same ingredient, using exactly the same cooking materials. It will turn out to be different. It will turn out to be different. So that difference is now called originality. And from there, you can understand one another. We can live in harmony rather than claiming that mine is original. I had that, let me be frank. That's the reason why I admire Ma'am Joy so much. When I first interacted with her in Burawin, she actually put me to the ground because she actually placed firmly my understanding of culinary to the ground because we were there to judge the culinary event. And then after the judging, she said to us, addressing no one in particular, our food in this town is this. You cannot come here and tell us that your food is bland or your food does not have salt enough. Because if we do that, then this is no longer our food. This becomes your food. So from there, I understand the concept of originality. Everyone is original. when it comes to food. The only question of authenticity here is the fake branded shirt that we are wearing. But when it comes to food, everything is original. Now, how do you, let me wrap up. How do you measure the standard of food? Simple. Always go to freshness. The ingredients should be fresh. That should not be compromised. The texture, the flavor should be there. Maura yun na. Do not debate on which one is authentic. Ako at the time, no? I abhorred so much sisig in Cebu using mayonnaise. But because I was inculcated that sisig should be like in Pampanga. There is no mayonnaise, there is no chicharon. But deep inside me, when I tasted the sisig with mayonnaise, because of my hypocrisy, I cannot accept nga lami, mandi ay kayo ang sisig nga ay mayonnaise. So karon, mangaon tag sisig nga ay mayonnaise. Bahala ta nga wala ta sa Pampanga. That's how you harmonize originality.
Chef Richard, I remember one time. So there's an applause for Chef Richard here on site. So there are comments here that they learned a lot in this an interesting lecture from Sunny Santiago at the National Quincentennial Committee page, and also we have from Mark and Marnell. So I remember one time there was a news that said that they wanted to patent the like dishes in the Philippines, that there should be one single recipe for everything. What was that about?
I include that in my subject, the topic. There was a misconception again. Because, talk about authenticity when it comes to food, everyone will complain. Because you are bearing your flag from your region. You will not allow the Cebuano to say our food is much better than in Luzon. There was a confusion, ma'am, because what they are creating is actually not patent, but what they are trying to agree on is the baseline recipe. But the problem is when it was communicated to the media, and the media has the responsibility to cascade the information. Somewhat along the way, they did not understand one another. Rather than sticking to baseline recipe, they said that patent. Now, of course, the Cebuano will not allow that the Luzon will get a patent on adobo because we also have our adobo here. What we are trying to understand is only baseline recipe, not patent. Let me add. Okay, I also let me add for indulge me a few minutes more. Okay, since we are in the question of the issue of the discussion of originality, I have traveled to Humba, and I have traveled to Ronda. Ronda is a...
You are not seen, and half of you.
Okay, sorry. I have traveled to Ronda, no? Ronda is a town in Cebu that is known for its humba. So I was shocked because when I went there are different versions of humba. So I tried to gather all the cook or the chef and ask them, which of this is really the authentic humba? And they were shocked. There is no such thing as authentic. All of these are humba. So who are you to tell them? Who are you to go to Ronda and tell them this one is I like this is authentic because you like the flavor? That should not be. Can you please show the slide on the humba sa Ronda? It's there. The next slide, please.
So stay tuned, everyone. We have a trivia quiz with prizes in a while. In a few minutes, we have 2 more questions. We have 1 more question for Professor 𝗖𝗵𝗲𝗄, and 1 question for Chef Richard. And then we are going to have a trivia quiz with prizes. For on-site, we have 1 for on-site audience, and only for the on-site audience. And then another for do we have the humba?
Do we have the slide now?
Humba sa Ronda.
It's just the next slide.
Yes. So we are also going to have a quiz for those online. and also both on-site and online, but everyone will answer through the comment section of either the National Quincentennial Committee page or the Pangas de Cebu Heritage Hotel page. So those on site, you should have a strong internet. You should ask for password from our team if they can have, so that they can have the equal opportunity in answering the trivia quiz. So do we have?
Okay. So what I'm showing now are some of the humba that I have tasted in Ronda, and all of these are, unique from one another, and all of these I believe are all original. Who are you to say that humba is not authentic? Okay, now we also have this one here in Cebu. Humba now is with cheese. Next slide, please. There, humba is humba with cheese, and on the next photo you have the beef humba with tableya. So all of these are actually original version of humba. Okay, now another important thing is the question of humba. What makes humba and adobo different from another? Oftentimes confusing yun. In my humble research, when you talk about humba, you should use actually pork pata or pork feet. While when you talk about adobo, it should be the meat of the chicken or the more meaty part of the pork. But you go to other towns, oftentimes they mix with one another. The adobo in Cebu is the dry one. It's almost the pinirito in Masbate. So should we launch war against one region because of this difference? And let it be, because those are original from that particular area. That's the beauty of measuring the food through originality rather than authenticity. You also have the kare-kare and the balbakwa. Actually, kare-kare is the more glorified version of the balbakwa, while balbakwa is the more humble type. Maurag yun na. Suman and budbud. Those two also are almost the same. Sinigang and that tinola, I have already discussed that. These are the common souring ingredients, which I believe was already covered by Ma'am 𝗵𝗲. Okay?
Daghang salamat, Chef Richard, and some Lorenzo in the National Quincentennial Committee page. He says that he wants to hear more of what you're saying. He wants to know if you have a page or a YouTube account, so that where you discuss your lectures. So actually, Chef Richard is an associate professor at the University of San Jose Recoletos at the Tourism and Hospitality Department. You can enroll in his class. so he also has, I guess you can check Jessica Soho and Biyahe ni Dro when Chef Richard has also guested in their shows. So we have also Carmela Alcoseba saying hashtag #SuTuKil, Monique, and also Mark. And Carmela is asking about tuslubuwa. Is there also is tuslubuwa part of the authentic original debate?
I will try to answer it as humbly as possible based on my limited, resources when it comes to tuslubuwa. But tuslubuwa, for me, is actually another original version here in Cebu, because you cannot find this anywhere in the Philippines but only in Cebu. But when you are going to compare it with the fondue of Switzerland, in which they dip their piece of fruits, piece of bread inside a boiling chocolate pot, that is almost similar to the tuslubuwa of Cebu. But only in the tuslubuwa of Cebu, we are actually using pig's brain, and oftentimes we add liver. So for me that's an original take of the fondue of the Swiss in Switzerland.
Daghang salamat, Chef Richard. And this is the last question for you, and very important question. Why do we say that the way to a person's heart is through the stomach?
Is that addressed to me or to both
You.
of us? You. Okay. Okay. Actually, in all my siguro mga 60% of my memory, it's always about my longingness for the food that was prepared by my long departed auntie and my long departed father and also some of my uncle. Yeah, food played a big part in me because when I was growing up in Masbate, we are living in a house nga huge family kayo, meaning to say all the sibling, all the uncles are also in one area. And oftentimes, as far as I remember, my father and my other uncle had a contentious relationship. It's some sort of a sibling, the relationship between sibling rivalry. More Carmela can actually identified with that. So oftentimes that's the relationship between my father and my uncle. But I am so happy that although they do not, understand one another, when it comes to cooking, my uncle, who really hails from China, introduced us to the aroma of the Chinese food. He is a very good cook. And oftentimes, although he is oftentimes angry with my father, and my father likewise, he made it a point not to include, the children. So when he cooks, it's like after they fought, the long table is prepared, and we all sit down and we enjoy the food. And after that, they can again go back to whatever they are quarreling. That's the memory. So
it's
for me, that's
peace. For peace, Kuan.
Yeah, really, that's the memory. And I think also that I am not saying that it applies to all of us, but maybe when we invite someone for the first time to to a buffet or to a plate full of food to start a relationship, after enjoying the food, you realize that there is no relationship at all. So that could be the end of it all. So for me, that's my simple explanation.
So, daghang salamat, Chef Richard. So, of course, when you go on a date, you invite someone during courtship, food is always part of it, right? So, when you break up also, according to Chef Richard, you always, bitter ba ni si Chef? So, when you also break up, it's also, how do you break up through food?
You break it up after eating.
After eating, you break.
Do not waste the food.
After eating the food, that's how you break it up. You cannot eat anymore if you say you break up before eating.
If your companion is also practical,
yeah,
I don't think he or she will initiate the breakup without first enjoying the food.
Yeah. So during engagement, so usually it's after the food. You put there are some versions of it. So, but of course, according to wars also have, according to our history, our Visayans deprive food to their enemy. So they starve their enemy. So food is also part of it. The way to kill is through the food. Don't give them food. So that's why the Spaniards left Cebu, went to Panay, and went to Manila, and Manila became the center of the colonial government because they starved in the Visayas. So the way to kill also,
but oftentimes
food deprivation, also poisons. Actually, they use poisons to defeat the enemy, because when the Spaniards were here, and then Miguel Lopez de Legazpi already left Cebu, he went to Panay, he came back, then he declared Cebu as the Santissimo Nombre de Jesus, the first city or town in the colony. And then he left a few encomenderos, and then the encomenderos died one by one. So it's because of poisons. So the Babaylanes had poisons, the religious leaders, the women, and the gays had poisons to defeat the enemy. So now may we have Professor 𝗖𝗵𝗲𝗳, this last question to relate to how is this this food relevant? How can delicious, the yummy, sensuous food and healthy food and healing food be accessible to the people today?
Yeah. Before I respond to that, I would like to respond to the concerns of our impassioned chef. Chef Richard is so impassioned as a chef is about cooking. In my case, I am not a chef. I cook, I understand cooking, and I appreciate food very much. And I study food. So from the point of view of culture, I do not bother myself anymore with these issues of authenticity or originality. I always assume that anyone who cooks the food is his or her own personal style, which could also reflect the culture. So what I would look for is the distinctiveness. Ano yung kinaihayahan ang iya? Unsa man dito sa Uslob, unsa sa Argao, unsa sa Aloginsan. So that is what will characterize the beauty of their culinary culture, right? So I don't bother myself anyway with those issues because for every cook, there is always a style. And for every food, there is always a reflection of the culture. So what I will look for, especially now, if Cebu has already found its culinary heritage and we have this wonderful presentation of Chef Richard, I am so amazed with the variations of the seafood, the different tastes that come through with not only the flavorings, the achuete or the turmeric, but also of the nature of the squid itself, what kind of squid it is, because it has its own distinctive flavor, distinctive taste. Ang iyang kalami naa na sa iyang kinaiyahan. So to look for what is distinctive. For the adobo, we cannot really define the baseline for adobo. Because there is always a style for every community. In Carigara, we even use this padak nga sugar mound, no, the kalamay, and a particular kind of rice, sticky rice that goes with the humba. So, and then there is the method of cooking, the simmering, how long. So there should be really no debate. That's why people will not respond to what was that, what agency was that, national agency that wants to standardize. That's not very easy to do, and people will really protest. Now, see, look for what is distinctive. And then my takeaway idea, what I want to share, an experience, not so much as idea, is the idea that we are a very sensuous community, the Visayas, having waters around us. We are a dance kinesthetic people. We are champions of dance. And so you have mentioned about not only food, but also singing and dancing. As Sina said, in 1660s, in the 1600s, even since the time of Magellan. But we have been here long before they came. We have been here for for thousands of years, no? Since 10,000 years ago, or even beyond. We are lovers of music. So food goes with drinking and music. And also prayer when it comes to ritual, when it comes thanking because of the bounty of our natural environment. Now, the question about healthy food. Local food is healthy, especially if they are of the soil and of our waters, especially if they are pristine, fresh, and natural. So I do not use Ajinomoto. I do not use, what's that, Magisarap, all these preparations with a lot of MSG and all of those preservatives. Professor De Leon shared with us, no, the former chair of the National Commission for Culture and the Art, that what is this? There is a town this is in among the Bilaans of Sarangani and Cotabato, that they live up to more than 100 years. The 𝗗𝗵𝗵𝗵 lived out about up to 106. We just celebrated her first death anniversary, and she lived and was very, very productive and lucid until she died, weaving wonderful abaca fiber turned into the ikat, called as the 𝗵𝗲𝗵𝗵. They live long lives. Why? Because of the food that they eat from their environment. Of course, we assume because they live in the mountains, there is not much pollution. I think that is the lesson of our COVID. When everything stopped, the world emitted a lot. We had a lot more oxygen because there were no more of this gaseousness in the air. So let us look at our new Earth, our new Philippines. If we are fractious, it has to do with the politics, not the culture. Because when we look at our culture, we are more common. Magkakamukha tayo kaysa magkakaiba. The differences are in the nuances, in the flavorings, in these little things, and souring ingredient. So the more fresh, the less there are artificial additives, the healthier they are. I think there is already that move towards au natural. Ayun, sound French, pero unsa man na, ibig sabihin likas. Atong kanang atong tuna, kanang atong yuta, kanang atong tubig.
Daghang salamat. Beautifully said, Professor 𝗖𝗄𝐶. Daghang salamat to Professor 𝗖𝗄𝐶. Maybe one of our on-site audience would like to share his insight on how can this healthy food, delicious food be accessible to the people today. So, may we have one from the millennials? So we have from the Cebu Technical University, our on-site audience. We have, how do we call you? 𝗤𝗏𝗄𝐴. So we have 𝗤𝗏𝗄𝐴. So maybe have his opinion. You are now in college.
Fourth year college.
Fourth year college. What's your course?
Bachelor of Science in Development Communication.
Okay, DevCom. So we have from DevCom a college student of DevCom. What's your insight on this? How can healthy and yummy, sensuous food be accessible to the people who are 70% or 80% living below the poverty line?
Of course, is taking care that considering the fact that we have, since we are here in the pandemic, we have a limited access to those who are limited, to those what's available, to those who are very sensuous foods around the community. We have also to consider that if you would like to taste it or have a and how to experience that kind of delicacy, it should come from us. Our interest to taste it, and of course, to take care of the resources, especially the history that our land has been giving through the years, especially that since time immemorial, we are given the graces of the earth and of the seas, and we made it into we cook it and make it into delicacies that need signature all throughout the years. And today, those were the gifts of the past, and we, as the members of the new land, we should have to nurture it, appreciate it, and of course, be proud of it, and appreciate it, and of course, practice it by practicing cooking them, of course, because despite our social status in the community, we are poor or we are rich, taking care of our culture is always a plus if we take care of them and find a way to taste them and to nurture them despite what generation you are, especially now that we are in the Generation C. Thank you.
Daghang salamat, 𝗤𝗏𝗄𝐴. You are going to win a contest of extemporaneous speech contest. So do we have another insight from also a student of the University of San Jose Recoletos? We have, what's the name? So Carmela. So Carmela was the one commenting a while ago. So we have an insight from Carmela on how can these delicious food be accessible to the people.
So as a Bachelor of Science in Hospitality Management student, no, I guess it has become an obligation for us to be able to share and communicate to everyone how beautiful food is. And so I guess the very effective way in sharing delicious food to everyone is basically through social media, especially in platforms like Facebook and of course the most famous TikTok, because I have been in TikTok for like years, and I believe that sharing a 3-minute video or even less than 3 minutes, like 15-second video showing a simple recipe on delicious food, healthy food, this would actually this can encourage Filipinos to appreciate more our food and our culture. And also, I believe that the Department of Tourism plays a key role in promoting our delicacies and our food, because they're the ones promoting the beaches and all the beautiful places here in the Philippines. And so I believe that they can also share and import, sharing beautiful recipes, simple recipes that anyone can cook. And to be honest, like, cooking delicious food and healthy food may become a challenge nowadays because of poverty and such, but kanang we can actually still cook yummy and healthy foods if we just go to the market or mangumpra ta sa carbon, 'di ba? And what I've learned from Chef How is that, of course, we appreciate and we value freshness of the food. And if you buy it from carbon, it's really just cheap, and so you can enjoy food, enjoy the quality of the food, and it's not that mahal. So you can actually still enjoy delicious and healthy foods if you just like kanang Pinobri style. You can say it like that. Kanang, even though we don't have to go to mahalon restaurants to be able to taste delicious and healthy foods, but we can do it if we just shop to carbon and homegrown foods. We can still do that. So
Daghang salamat, Carmela.
Thank you so much.
We are running out of time, so we are actually going to end this with this trivia quiz. So, of course, food security, access to food, equitable distribution of wealth is, according to Professor 𝗖𝗍cie, it's a matter of politics. So, we have all the resources, we have natural resources, but 80% are living below the poverty line, and this is a talking point in politics. So,
that is outside of the scope. I hope
Yes.
we can expound on that.
Yes.
True. It's within the scope of politics.
So now get ready with your, for those on site, we have, can we turn around the camera, and then I have where's the microphone? So for those who would like to answer, this first question is for the on-site, the physically present here audience. So the one who would like to answer would raise his or her hand, and we have the microphone there at that side. Is that the microphone? So are we ready with the microphone? So the one who would want to answer would raise his or her hand for you to be the first to go to the microphone, so that you will not have overcrowding at the mic. So distancing. So you raise your hand and you would be the first to answer if you want to answer this. And the prize would be an 𝗏𝗏𝗏 SuTuKil, good for one. 𝗏𝗏𝗏 sugbat 2 kilo, good for one only, good for yourself, the one who answered. So this is the question for the on-site audience. Sa mga Cebuano nga naa diri. So your question is this: what is the souring ingredient of the waray tinola? Oh, gracias. So you go to the microphone. What's your answer? Patay.
Was it achuetes?
Wrong. Try again. Ink. Try again. Sour. It's atsuete is red. So this question is from Professor 𝗖𝗍cie. So this question, what is the souring ingredient of the waray tinola? Who wants to answer? Next. So someone answered online, but I wouldn't. So because this is for the on-site audience, so who would like to answer? Should we go back to the on-site, or forfeited na ning a question? No one answers. So someone answered online. So the answer of Benjamin Gumo, he was really listening. The correct answer, it's batuan, the souring ingredient. Have you eaten batuan? It's round, and so you don't know batuan. So batuan is a so so the on-site audience did not win anything. Next question is for the online audience. So only the online audience can answer, but the third question, both online and on-site can answer, but you answer through the comment section. So the second question is for the online audience, not, but the ones on-site cannot answer because you had your chance at the first question. So the next question is this: the one who would answer this would win a kawa bath, hulum kawa at Pamgra sa Cebu Heritage Hotel. And the kawa, we have a kawa bath named Tinula. When you are on the kawa, there will be sea salt and ginger and tanglad and lemongrass in the kawa. So this is the question. So the ones who online can answer, and then the one who would answer would win a Tinola kawa bath at Pamgra sa Cebu Heritage Hotel when you come to Cebu. So the question is this: name a spice that is used in the Cebuano kinilaw that is not used in the Waray kinilaw. So the ones online would answer. Comment section. So you would win a tinua. You would be the tinua. You would be, but not di ka isugba. You will not be sugba, but you will become tinua in the kawa bath at Pamgrass, the Cebu Heritage Hotel. You will have tanglad, lemongrass, and sea salt. So the one who answered is 𝗵𝗵𝗲𝗄. Congratulations, 𝗵𝗵𝗲𝗄. Is this your student? No? Oh, sige. So we have a winner. We have the first one. Is 𝗵𝗵𝗲𝗄 the first one who answered? There are so many of those who answered correctly. 𝗐𝐮𝐓𝐵𝗲𝗲, Jericho, Monique, Kilokis, Cresplay. So they answered correctly. Congratulations for knowing the correct answer. That the Cebuano kinilaw has sili, chili pepper, halang. So the next question, this question was mentioned by, the answer of this was mentioned by me. So get ready. So you will be answering, do you have good internet connection? Do you have Wi-Fi right now? So those online, they have Wi-Fi, of course. So this is the question. So you will be able to stay for 5 hours at the Lawak Hayahay or the Rooms for Heroes at Pamgrass if you win this. And then you would also have an access to the saltwater dipping pool. Of course, not Tinua. So saltwater dipping pool at Pamgrass, the Cebu Heritage Hotel, and 5 hours stay at the Rooms for Heroes at Pamgrass if you will know the answer to this question. So the question is this: name any or at least one food offered during a Babaylan ritual in Cebu in 1521. So you would be able to win a good for two, soak and chill. You chill at the Rooms for Heroes for 5 hours and with access to the saltwater dipping pool at Pamgrass. So name one food offered during the Babaylan ritual in Cebu in 1521. So, grabe palahubog ni atong mga kuan. Palahubog atong mga audience because all the answers are tuba. Tuba, of course, is correct. It's one of the food and drink. So this is Lita. Who is Lita? So Lita is on site. Congratulations, Lita, for winning. Pulos gid ang nahinumduman ra gid sa tanan kay mga palahubog ang mga Bisaya. Ang tuba ra gid nahinumduman. So naasay sinugbang isda, there was roasted fish, and there was also rice cakes and millet cakes. So naay mga bibingka, naay mga puto during sa ilang that they offered during the Babaylan ritual. So daghang salamat everyone. So congratulations, and we also have more fun and games tonight. Tuba drinking contest, SuTuKil eating contest, guess the song title contest with also we have a live band with also we will have drummer of the night. So at Kapihan ni Lumaya to celebrate the 6th year of 𝗵𝗵𝗲𝗵𝗵. So we would like to invite you to our upcoming events. On March 12, we have a discussion, the women warriors in the Visayas. We will have an impromptu speech contest with the grade 7 to 12 students of in Cebu Island to celebrate the Visayan heroism and the 124th anniversary of the Battle of 𝗗𝗵𝗲𝗄. And of course, on April 3 is our 124th year of the Battle of 𝗗𝗵𝗲𝗄, and also the anniversary of the grand opening of 𝗵𝗲𝗄𝗃 Heritage Hotel, the fifth. Is it the fifth anniversary of on April 3 during the anniversary of the Battle of 𝗗𝗵𝗲𝗄? So now we would like to have the closing statements from our panelists, our very brilliant, the beauty and brains panelists. So we have Professor 𝗖𝐵𝐶. May we have your closing statement?
Daghang salamat. Many thanks for this opportunity. It is honor and privilege to be on board with you, Ms. Agripina, and my friend, Chef 𝗵𝗵𝗲𝗄. And I am very happy that our audience, especially the young people around, have somehow, in one way or another, absorbed what we shared, the knowledge that we tried to put together, so they would be able to appreciate the beauty and deliciousness of our culinary heritage. So I would like to request them to give a moment of silence to our ancient cooks who have passed on our traditional recipes, or a prayer, no, for your lola, your nanay, your tia, tito, or whoever you remember. Please give them that thought and thank them, no, a Thanksgiving prayer. And I would like them to dance their way. When you taste something good and you say, lamig, namit, marasa, dance. And remember, we celebrate. We are Visayans. We are happy. Even when we fight and defeat the enemy, we glorify the victory, celebrating through food, prayer, food, music, and dancing. Thank you.
Daghang salamat, Professor 𝗖𝐵𝐶, for your very lami marasa sharing this afternoon, and you also very mouth-watering photos of food that you shared. Daghang salamat. We're so happy that Professor 𝗖𝐵𝐶 is able to be with us today. So we would also like to have the closing statement from Chef Richard 𝗏.
Okay, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It is such an honor and privilege to be invited to such a distinguished event. Now, I would like to end my talk by just saying to the parents, addressing to the parents, take control of your kitchen. If you want healthy foods to be available to your children, take control of your kitchen. Do not just rely on fast food. Do not rely on groceries, but coordinate, create a relationship with our producers, like farmers, the fishermen, who actually produces the ingredients for your delicious and healthy food.
Daghang salamat, Chef Richard, for sharing with us your passion and your advocacy for our local dishes. And so, our audience, daghang salamat to those who joined, who are on site, and also to those online. Daghang salamat for those who, and congratulations to those who answered correctly our trivia quiz. Join us in our celebration tonight, and sa ika-unom nga tuig sa 𝗵𝗵𝗲𝗵𝗵. We thank our partners, the National Historical Commission of the Philippines, the National Quincentennial Committee, the University of San Jose Recoletos, Museo Sugbo, Central Visayas Association of Museums, the Andy Heritage Center, and so on 2020. And be with us again in our next events. Maayong gabi sa tanan.